Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining, the interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today is a good friend and very special guest, Mr. Doug TenNapel. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh, mamo, mamo, mamo.
What? What was that?
That's my assistant, Robert. This is Robert. He's my special friend. I got him from Fiji. He just kind
Okay.
of runs around the house. He grabs a fork and he stabs people and stuff. This is Robert. He's awesome.
Is
From
he?
Fiji.
He's from Fiji. Is he?
Yeah.
Are you appropriating Fijian culture?
Hey, I'm not doing anything. Look at me. I'm showing both my hands. Well, one of them. I'm not doing anything. I just got him. I can't help what he has Tourette's, so he
Okay.
can't help it.
When did you go to Fiji?
That was last fall, dude, for Thanksgiving. We bailed on everything. We bailed on the turkey and went to Fiji and we went scuba diving.
How was Fiji? I went to Tahiti a couple years ago and it was great. Because there was like nothing to do other than enjoy the place. There wasn't like touristy crap,
Pretty much that. And so if you're into like snorkeling and scuba and sailing and fishing and walking around on a beach just in beauty, and you go to some really nice, tiny little resort, like high-end resort, it's amazing. Like that's where Survivor is shot and stuff, and Castaway was shot there. It's stunning beauty. So we just went there just to hang for 5 days. We had the family bond time.
Yeah, that's what we did. Well, it was just my wife and I. We didn't bring the kids. We went to the island of Moorea in Tahiti. And we stayed at the
island of Dr. Moorea.
Yeah, and we stayed at the Hilton Resort. And there's just nothing. It's like resort and then poverty, kind of on the island.
That's true. The poverty is staggering.
Right.
Area.
But the environment is gorgeous. The water's amazing. The landscape is beautiful. And the people, I mean, I say poverty, but I think the actual happiness quotient is pretty high because
way higher.
Yeah.
We went to a little village, a little missionary village thing it's on its own island. These people like drink reclaimed rainwater, and they gave me some of their kava juice, and I got the squirts for 2 weeks straight. It was horrifying. But as I looked around at the kids and just abject poverty, and everyone makes donations, when you visit the island and stuff, those kids, I brought my 4 kids, and every one of those kids was probably in greater suffering than my kids, and all of them were happier.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a different way of living. But enough musing about the world. Let's talk about important stuff.
Enough about this shabby trash. Let's get to the steak.
Okay, so for those of you watching at home, let me just say I have something tonight. Doug's gonna stay for about an hour and a half or so, hour and a half, something like that. And then I have something tonight that, in regards to Vic Mignogna, that I'm gonna talk about it a little bit tonight. I've got a new theory on Jamie Markey. I've got a theory on Funimation. So I'm going to talk about those things, and I've got something, and I've got more coming, but I've got something to tease to you tonight, and I will show you a bit of it. Tomorrow's going to be a really good show. Let's just say, no matter how many closeout sales there are at Payless, Shane will not be able to buy enough shoes to bury his sorrows.
Yeah, that sounds juicy.
It's juicy. It's juicy. So I will tease a little bit of it tonight. We're going to do a big show on it tomorrow. I think I might have Cody from Anime Outsiders on to go through it with me, along with some other stuff that he wants to talk about. And in the interest of the Kick Vic content, or the I Stand With Vic content creators, being sort of me engaging with them one-on-one as I've been trying, or one-on-one or in small groups as I've been trying to do. So that's going to be tomorrow. Tonight, though, we're here to talk about Doug TenNapel, who is launched just yesterday, right? Just yesterday.
We launched the cow.
Yeah, fetch la vache. And launched Earthworm Jim, the comic book, and recently, just a couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, announced Earthworm Jim 3, the video game, right?
That's right. That's right.
So,
Earthworm Jim 3 is a video game where we had a big reunion last week with the original Shiny crew that made the game. So here's that we all signed this poster. All 10 crew members showed up, and it was neat. Like we were all the same age. We were all like in our late 20s, kind of 27-ish.
sure.
So now we're all 50, 51-ish, all 10 guys, and we've had like 27 years in video games now. So it was a cool reunion. Three of the guys are working full time for in television. They're relaunching an Intellivision console, and they got the exclusive rights to do an Earthworm Jim video game. So I'm
So,
helping them however I can. I just said, if you need new characters, if you need level design, whatever. I am not full timing on this thing. Obviously, I'm full timing on my comic book,
right. So, okay,
but
so they got the exclusive rights to do the video game.
yeah,
You must have acquired rights to do the comic book. Is that right?
that
Because
is right. That's
Earthworm
right.
Jim got lost in this weird IP miasma. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I'll talk about what I legally can, right? You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
Yep.
Earthworm Jim has been owned by Interplay, I think, for 18 years. I think they bought Shiny. Uh, well, they bought it right around when I left. So that was right around 1995 was Interplay bought Shiny. And that's when I first left the company to start my own company, the Neverhood. That's one that DreamWorks funded a 3-game deal. And I took about half the crew with me. So all the animators came and they started wanting to go into more 3D games, a little bit away from the 2D animation that we were all into. But and by the way, some of these team members I hadn't seen since 1995. Like when we did the big split, I hadn't seen a ton of these guys that I just saw again last week, and we adore each other.
Right.
It was Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 was just a two-year dream come true for a game, anyone working in games. Um, but so the and Interplay has kind of moved owners a little bit, and they, we've all been kind of swirling around the Earthworm Jim rights ever since because they did a few kind of PC ports and Earthworm Jim 3D, which I did not enjoy. But I've been trying to get the book rights for quite some time. I've even at one point I was in some kind of a deal with them to have the TV rights. This is before Netflix.
Sure.
Um, and so now I've been trying to do the graphic novel rights probably for I'd say 2 years, and it just we you work on a you work on trying to get the rights, and obviously it's not the full-time thing you do, right? I have like 5 other things I'm always working on at the same time. So it's and before you get the rights, it actually seems like an impossibility, not like a possibility. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
until that deal is signed, it feels like this whole thing could fall apart, and it had fallen apart a number of times before. So I never really take it that seriously, like, oh, I got to really pound this thing and really get those rights. You try a little bit, and then you can't quite come to terms, come to a point of agreement. So then you just move on to these other projects, right?
Hmm.
Well, during Bigfoot Bill, I really started thinking I would love to get the Earthworm Jim book rights again. And so, come around last fall, I think we started talking about it. It got more and more serious until at some point I had to either walk away from the Earthworm Jim deal and go and do Bigfoot Bill 2 this last month and launch that. Or if I could get the rights, I would do Earthworm Jim book 1. And I'm going to start staggering them between Bigfoot Bill. So I raised $200,000 on Bigfoot Bill. I just figured that's what I'd be doing for the next 5 years of my life. Well, within a right when I was about to have to get working on the Bigfoot Bill 2 book, I'd already written the script. the Earthworm Jim rights suddenly came up and the deal started progressing quickly within just a few days. That final Friday, I said, "We have to get it done by this Friday because I have to start that book." And we
Right.
have 4 hours. And then we have 2 hours. It came down to 2 hours. And then in that final hour, the deal came through. My lawyer said, "Yeah, let's sign this." And we did it. So it was a deal that I made a deal I couldn't refuse.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think people might not understand. I don't know the specifics of Interplay.
Uh-huh.
What I do know is that Interplay was a video game studio back in the '90s that
That's right.
that largely doesn't do anything and hasn't for probably at least 15 years now.
Yeah,
Um,
Interplay used to be a huge company with 75 employees walking around.
right.
And they're
And
not that a game development site anymore. No, they're not that.
right. So as these sort of larger or even small to mid-size, it really doesn't matter how many people there are, but as these
Right.
companies wind down and scale back and become something that basically ends up with someone collecting residuals on behalf of the company
That's right.
for whatever's left, like in this case, they own the rights to Earthworm Jim. So any uses of Earthworm Jim that happen to be licensed out might have a little bit of trickle down if someone buy something or options
Right.
the script or something.
There's someone who they end up protecting intellectual property or handing out royalty checks and distributing them. And just like every other company, trying to land deals here and there, or try
Right.
and sell off their intellectual property rights or whatever. You know, but there's a lot of those kinds of I mean, in television was another one of those properties where that's why Tommy Tallarico was able to buy the company.
Right. And I
Was
want to
be
talk to you about that because
Yeah,
that's the interesting thing. For those of you who don't know, Earthworm Jim, the new video game, will be exclusive to the new Intellivision console launching next year.
right.
So I want to talk about that. I have a couple chats. My policy is any $20 or higher chats I try and read right away.
Sure.
So let me do that. Siren Jag says, "Don't look at me. I would never call a certain someone a whale after taking such a loss, but it's not my fault that she threw up and then Jonah ran off to go warn the people of Nineveh that the wrath of the Lord was coming." So there you go.
I like Bible metaphors. Very good. We like that.
Freighter J says, "Which do you believe is a larger number, Shane's IQ or or penis length in inches?" That's a trick question. They're both negative.
Yeah.
Quantum videos. This one's kind of up both of our alleys, Doug. It says,
Yeah.
"Nick, can you pray for my mom? I lost her 1 year ago today. All the faith-based content I do on my channel is from her Bible. I do it to honor her memory because she loved God so very much. I hope you will have a drink for her."
Oh yeah. Get that going.
Yeah, I'll definitely have a drink for her. And could I ask you to go ahead and we don't have to do it on the show or whatever, but I know that you're a praying man like I am,
I am a praying man.
and so I will definitely pray for your mom. Quantum videos, and I hope Doug
Sure.
does. The
I'll pray
same.
for her right now, dude.
Oh, do it.
I like praying on the air. First, we have our drink here.
Yeah.
This is to consummate the deal. I'm drinking wild turkey, of course. I have a lovely shot. This is all I'm giving myself for your show to make sure I
Sure.
don't get too stupid.
I've got Duke bourbon. Duke.
Duke, very good. This is Wild Turkey 101. And what's the guy's name again? The guy's mom's name? It's
Well, Quantum videos. I don't.
Okay, we'll pray for Quantum Video's mom then. Let's pray. Y'all bow your heads and just think about God. God, we pray for Quantum Video's mom and just we're happy that you brought her home and she's in your bosom now. And this is where she was always meant to be. She's at her true home. And we pray, Lord, for the people who survive, how hard it would be for me to lose my mom. And what a crushing hole that leaves in our life. So we're left here with the pieces. And I just pray that you'd give him great peace and just nothing but thankfulness for having a mom that he cares about who's passed on. We love you, Lord, and we thank you for the many blessings you give us, this friendship and the ability to get to hang with friends online. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen, buddy. That was great. Thank you.
Salute.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Wild Turkey 101, huh?
I know you're too snobby for that now, right? You're too fancy.
No. I'm not too fancy. I like Wild Turkey just fine.
It's a blunt force instrument, but it's
Yeah.
very good.
I
This 101,
prefer the 101 to the regular Wild Turkey though. Absolutely.
yeah, it's what's the other one? Is it 82 or 84?
Something like that. Something boring and pedestrian. I mean,
Yeah.
what are we doing
Yeah.
here? You got 101. What would you even bother buying the other stuff, in my
It's
opinion?
very good. Angie did a tour, the beloved Miss TenNapel did a tour of the Dickel
Oh, the Dickel Distillery?
distillery. Yeah. Yep. She did that this weekend. She went to some resort with her friends and they did that.
Oh, that's
Okay, moving on.
Yeah. We've got two more. I like the Spike Man says, question for Doug. Is the console going to come with Earthworm Jim preloaded or a separate purchase? Also, thanks for your 5 Iron Frenzy artwork.
Oh wow, thank you. Five Iron Frenzy is one of my favorite bands. So I did a bunch of their album covers. Um, it will not come with Earthworm Jim game because I'm pretty sure the console will predate the game by quite a bit. The console is going to launch with a certain number of games on it. I believe 3 to 5. I think they're planning on. I've seen some of the games. They look fantastic. But Earthworm Jim will definitely be coming late enough that it won't be packaged with the console, as far as I know.
Okay.
I'm just telling you all this proprietary stuff that I overheard at Intellivision that I'm not supposed to be saying, I'm sure.
Shh. Did you sign anything?
I did not sign a thing.
Then
I'm
they're
just saying, I
screwed.
didn't.
They're done. Let's get more Wild Turkey 101 in you. We'll see what
Yeah,
comes
right,
out.
right. I could sink that company right now, baby.
Yeah. Actually, that's an interesting pivot that we'll do in 1 second. Mythos Irving says, sorry, Nick, I'm late and gay. Also to Doug, thank you so very much for making Earthworm Jim. It's so cool. I can thank you directly. I had so many years of fun playing Earthworm Jim on SNES. So,
those are my fans, man. And look at them. They're coming in on this book. We're already up to 124,000. They're pounding in. So,
yeah, guys, if you haven't seen this, remember that this campaign launched yesterday. It's in the description. Earthworm Jim on Indiegogo. It's at what, 126,000 you said?
124,000.
124. And it launched yesterday. That's amazing. Amazing. Yeah. I'm so glad you were able to get the rights back for it because it's timely. It's for some reason, I don't know why it works like this, but for some reason, it's Earthworm Jim is in the cultural zeitgeist of guys who grew up on it. Now looking back and seeing all this stuff, like, I bought one of these arcade consoles that they sell at flipping Walmart now, of all places. I got the Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. I got one today. And there's just this look back, I guess, from guys who are my age, around mid-30s, looking at their, formative teenage years and going,
it goes back to your childhood, man. It's in your subconscious deep.
Yeah,
it goes in. When people come up to me and talk about Earthworm Jim, they're practically crying because they're going back to when they were 5 years old. It's like they're just like, oh,
right.
When you hit something, like for me, it's Godzilla. Like that's what Godzilla was for me. So I'm excited about that movie. I'm a 52-year-old man and I see that trailer. I'm just like almost crying, like, oh my gosh. And I'm also saying, like, for once in my lifetime, they're making a good Godzilla movie.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
It looks like they might actually do one.
Hopefully Matthew Broderick isn't in this one or whatever.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick's going to be in the rubber suit. So Earthworm Jim it's a huge, I don't know if you guys know what kind of books I make. These aren't little floppy little throwaway comics. This is a 9x12. This is Bigfoot Bill, the last book that we did that just delivered last month. This has this one is 96 pages. Earthworm Jim starts at 160 pages. So these are full color, full blown rendered, full stories, giant books. I do gold leafing. We do embossing and embossed letters on the front and the back. There's a little embossed figure back here. This has 2 colors of gold leafing on it. These are like deluxe style books. This is this costs $25. They go for $100 regularly on eBay right now. They're not available in stores. So this is the end sheets. They have real high quality cardstock end sheets that are super thick. You can get a signed tier book, but This is like, I just don't want them to think like it's a floppy little comic. It is a 9x12 hardbound, like something that stands up in your library.
Yeah, it looks good
So
on a shelf, feels good in your
yeah.
hand.
And we're also doing a making of. So this is the making of Bigfoot Bill book. We're going to do a making of Earthworm Jim book. This is also 9x12, hardbound with gold leafing and all that. This has a UV gloss coating on this illustration. Always trying to do something special all over the book. But the making of Earthworm Jim book is going to tell the entire backstory of how the team got together. I went and interviewed them for hours and shook out all this information on like the freak accident of how Earthworm Jim wouldn't have happened if all of these events didn't line up into place. And I got it from all the different teams' perspective. So it's got that. It's got an original illustration. It's got the cover illustration is by the original guy who did the Earthworm Jim game art. Like the guy that did this painting, Mike Kelsch, is doing the painting of the making of book. And this is going to be this is the cover that I did for the main book. Earthworm Jim, Launch the Cow. I'd love to get all my Earthworm Jim fan backers out there. We're going to send you some killer books. And there's also some prints by the Creature Box guys are doing 2 prints for us. And also there's tiers with signed books. There's tiers with Earthworm. I'll draw you an Earthworm Jim head sketch. And I'm just looking for support. And I'm a big fan of the art of bookmaking. Like I love your Warcraft collection, Nick.
Yeah.
That is the art of bookmaking, the paper stock and stuff they do. You can tell they're just not trying to like cut every little margin down to maximize their profits. They are pounding artistry into the actual stock and artistry of that book. And that's what I like. I'm into making books.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you make a product that, one, it's going to hold up. That's another thing about making a nice book, is it's going to actually not degrade and get creased and deteriorate and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's not as hard to keep in good condition. Two, yeah, my wife likes books that look good on shelves either way. So
Me too.
I
Look at
will
my
be,
library back there. I want stuff that looks good in a library.
I'll be buying one for
Good
sure.
man.
I'm trying to decide if I want an original page or not. That's what I'm trying to decide right now.
The original pages are going to be fantastic. So I'll show you a sample of one. Like here, this is just sample art, but on the original pages, I'm doing something really different in this book. I'm not just doing the black inks. That's the queen freaking out. I'm doing ink washes on every page.
I see.
So it's going to actually look way more buff. Let me get this. This page is beautiful. This one here, I really like a lot. So like there's an ink layer, and then there's like, this is a gray wash where you water down the ink to put shadows on. And I put it in the background too. Like here they are flying into a giant worm mouth. It's the original pages are going to look really nice is my goal.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I would love to have a page to hang on the wall. I think I might be doing that. We'll see how much Duke I drink tonight.
Yeah, don't shop drunk. Don't shop drunk.
Don't tell people that. You want them to shop drunk.
Okay, shop slobbering, shop high.
The internet is the place where people get to make those types of decisions and they don't get challenged. I mean, because that's a real thing. People could say I was too intoxicated to enter into this agreement. But if you're on the internet, you're going to have a real hard time proving that.
Yeah, so legally they're trash. But also, if you're going to be drunk and you're going to buy something, by all means, be drunk and buy an Earthworm Jim page that really holds its value. The character has a lot of resale value. So I'm just saying, I know that these books are going to be worth a lot. There are guys who came in on the Bigfoot Bill campaign who bought 4 books just to resell, flipped 2 on eBay, and they made so much money on them that it was like getting a free book.
Well, I have to, speaking of Bigfoot Bill.
Yeah.
I assume you know what's coming. I have to ask you some hard questions.
Oh yeah. I like hard questions. I have hard answers.
Apparently there were 106 customers who did not get their sketchbook on Bigfoot Bill.
Absolutely true. Let me show you the book. This This book is the one that I came up 106 books short in my print run due to a purely stupid error on my part. Was I ordered the books before the last day that I went on Ethan's show.
Mm.
So I had to order the books before I went on that show to meet the print run to be able to hit my deadline. And on Ethan's show, in 8 hours, we raised $40,000 worth of backers.
Oh my goodness.
So that made my numbers completely shit the bed.
Right.
And the printer where I print these books, these are super high quality. One of the best printers in America is Jostens here in Tennessee. They do all of America's yearbooks, like $2 billion worth of yearbooks a year.
And those class rings that you all lose.
And those class rings that you all lose that you could punch someone out with. However, they have a blockout period where they cannot print anything more within a 3-month period of doing those yearbooks. So the very last campaign that they allowed to print in their facilities was Bigfoot Bill. Like as soon as mine was done, and so they have the actual hours slotted out in the factory for a certain amount of time, and I could not up my order. It was locked out basically. So I'd have to wait till the end of that 3-month period, and they're still in it. Like
Yeah.
you know, and so they can't just do a few more books. And then when they do fire up the print run again, they can't just do 106 books. This isn't a photocopier machine. Each pass on this book they take the cover stock and they print this original piece. Next pass, gloss. Next pass, gold leaf. Next pass, you know what I mean? It's assembled in a number of passes that takes about 30 days to print a book. So they don't shut down the factory to do 106 books unless they charge you $200 a book
Right.
on a print run that small. So I'm just setting the story up on what happened with those 106 people. So I went back and did all my calculations on what was the best way to deal with all of these 106 people who got screwed out of a book. They paid for it, that is. So they made a donation. They got the main book already delivered to them, and then they got a note that said, you're one of the unlucky backers that didn't 106 out of 3,400 backers. You're one of the unlucky 100 who did not get a making of book. I swore I would not release any digital PDFs of these books. Like that was just a promise I made to my backers. As I just said, I don't want this floating around on the internet. The printed book is the artwork. You guys already know how obsessive I am about that. However, for just these 106 backers, I said, I will send you a downloadable PDF of the making of. You'll get your book, and I'll offer you a refund on the making of book. So they paid $25 on it. And the refund I offered was anywhere between $25 and $30. Some got 25, some got 30. And I said, but if you don't want a refund, just let me know. And then I can keep the money. About half of those 106 people said, don't bother with the refund, because when I first launched Bigfoot Bill, I was launching a 48-page floppy little comic book.
Right.
It was I don't even know I don't have a normal comic book here, but it was like a normal floppy 48-page book, thinner than this, probably about 1/4 this size. And so I charge on international shipping $15. Well, $15 on a book this size going to Australia. Don't cut it.
Right.
Australia costs $65 to send this book. 2 books, I'm sorry. It's $35 to send this book, probably more like 40. So $15 don't cut it. So if you think that I have 500 backers that are international, I lost about $16,000 on international books. So I just thought, of all the people who I'm going to burn out of a book when I'm 106 books short, for starters, it's going to be international because I lost money on every international one because the book got so big. So I told them I would offer them a refund, and most of them, over half of them, didn't want a refund, and the ones who did want a refund, I paid them just fine, and that was enough. So that's the backstory on all of that.
Well, thanks for addressing that. I had no idea that this was going on. Um,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I got my making of book. So
I'm pretty sure you did too. You probably have more copies than I do. There's backers that have 4 copies of that book.
I only got the one. I only got the
Yeah.
one. Um, but I'll sell it for $2 trillion. No, I'm
You
just
should
kidding.
put that on eBay if you want to quadruple your money, and that's what I'm giving to my backers, is that kind of value. Now,
Yeah,
now to talk about, you want to talk about the internet swirl? I will not bring up this backer's name, but I had 3 backers, one of them specifically that gave me a lot of trouble, who paid $65. That's $50 for 2 books, $15 international shipping. And I offered him a refund and he said, "No, you're going to give me a book." And I said, I don't have a book to give you. He said, "I saw on a live stream that you had a book on your shelf." I said, "This book is marked up for, because there's spelling errors in it, for the next print run in January of 2020. I have to keep a book here, but one copy of each book that I mark up with all the, you know, things I want to change and update for the next
right.
print run." He said, "You will send me that book." I said, "No." Indiegogo, I cut out and pasted the actual Indiegogo contract between backer and the campaign, and it says, "If you can't fulfill a book, you will offer a refund." So I offered him a refund, and he said, "No, keep your refund. I want the book." So I tried sending him a refund through Indiegogo, and he uses fake emails, so I can't refund it. Right? I
Sure.
found his email later on a different Twitter account, and I sent him a full $65 refund. So he got this book for free. He got the digital download of this, $65 back, and he launches this giant campaign against me. And certain other people on the internet jumped in and thought it'd be really fun to attack my business. And that's their hobby. And you know what? That's their right. Have fun, guys. But you know,
Well,
what should I do?
yeah, I mean the problem is that at the end of the day, businesses run into reality, and
That's
the
right.
reality is that when you're, like you mentioned, Jostens isn't going to print more books
Mm-mm.
until they're printing, a huge amount of the same book where it becomes
Mhm.
economically viable. That's just the way it
Mhm.
goes. And this
And
isn't
backers didn't want to hear it. They just said, "Look, you can go, you know what you can do? You can print me a floppy of that book. Go print me a floppy of it on demand." And I just said, "That's not the artwork that I intend. And that breaks my moral contract I have with the other 3,200 backers when I promised I would not do that." You know what I mean?
right.
This is a single print run, is kind of the risk that you take. And it's kind of like some of these backers don't understand the the contract I have with other backers, that I can't just put out other versions of the book. I really shouldn't be putting out PDFs under any circumstances, because those get floated out to pirate sites. Then suddenly I have guys in Russia printing out this hardbound book by the thousands because it's unavailable, and they dump them out on eBay as if they're coming from me.
Right. Well, and if you printed some special one-off run of the book, I mean that would, as dumb as it is, even though it'd be lower quality or whatever, it would be inherently valuable as it's the only
Yeah.
one and came from you. And
Yeah.
especially if the person could verify it, and that would diminish the worth of what other people bought. So
Yeah.
no, I get it. That's the problem with businesses. Eventually it does run into reality at times, and it does suck. Certainly you've taken a hit with some of those fans, and that's the nature of business, right? Um,
Most of them are happy. A few are sad. You cannot please everybody, and there's no way I'm gonna. And that's not okay with me. I mean, I want to be as right by the people who made me, uh, brought me where I am as possible. But this one guy was actually a personal friend whom I've spent hours offline in friendly conversations with, and helping him with personal life issues, and helping him write a book. And this is kind of normal. I mean, I'm okay with it, and I don't hold anything against anybody, but I am a little pissed at what happens. I mean, with the swirl campaign that goes out, there's a lot of people, not a lot. There's a few people out attacking my business, and and they will always attack me no matter what I do. So I'm at
sure.
peace, but I don't want people to think that I'm flip or stupid about it or take it lightly. This business is what I'm doing right now to put food in my family's mouth, and I take that very seriously. I take my customers very seriously too. I do as best I can, and I apologize to all those 106 people. I also apologized, and some people that just ain't gonna wait. And by the way, all the same people who are spreading giant rumor things against me, they come in and bought my next book. So they're angry at me and they call me a ripoff artist, but then they're buying the next book. So
Well, about
I
that,
don't know what to do as a business. I'm just doing my best is all I can do.
yeah, and that's all you ever can. That's the market, though, right? People will
Yeah.
they'll either buy it or they won't. I mean, frankly, but I do have a follow-up question for you.
Yeah.
This is coming from the same source, and it's along the same vein.
Yeah.
I know nothing about this, but
Yeah.
the one person is alleging that that Earthworm Jim either can't be, or you're refusing to allow it to be, or something associated with Comicsgate. Can you clarify that? Like, I don't know. I
Sure.
think the question I'm supposed to ask you is, why can't Earthworm Jim
Yeah.
be associated with Comicsgate when Comicsgate helped you raise all this money?
Sure. Sure.
No context for me. I don't know.
No, hey, I'm fine. I am one thing my backers know about me, 100% honesty, nothing to hide. I'll tell you if I can't say anything about it. But as a lawyer, I think you might know something about this in that my handling, I don't own Earthworm Jim, right?
Right.
That company still owns it. I got a license to do a book. So in protecting the intellectual property that they still own, there is normal boilerplate stuff in there that keeps me from being a public a-hole, like, say, a white supremacist or you know what I mean? Some weird guy that would tarnish the brand if Earthworm Jim was on it. So there's a normal boilerplate thing on there that says, I will not associate with any controversial groups, anything that would divide the audience on Earthworm Jim, anything that would in any way bring any kind of, and the language they use, you know how these lawyers are. The
Yeah.
language is like anything in any way in any universe,
Yeah.
or
It basically,
you negate your contract.
right, and that's the to clarify for you guys who aren't catching this.
We need some lawsplaining.
It doesn't matter what group it is. If Doug associates with any group that the owner of the intellectual property would determine unilaterally to be detrimental to the brand of the intellectual property that he owns, it's gone. The license is pulled. It's just like the Twitter terms of service, the Facebook terms of service, in the way that the enforcement is entirely in the hands of the party that owns the property. And you can appeal and scream all you want that it's a violation of the rules, but ultimately you're pissing in the hurricane, because they have a right to go ahead and pull it at their discretion, and any amount of cause is probably sufficient. And even if they use no cause, the amount of cost that you would sink fighting it is
That's
astronomical.
exactly right. Exactly right. So there's
So
certain things I'll freely say that are controversial, like I'm a Christian, I'm an evangelical, I'm pro-life. There's certain things that I am always willing to take that heat on. But there's other things that I am not willing to risk all of my career on. And you have to be very careful and pick your battles on that. So I'm just trying to I want Earthworm Jim to be a huge public figure for everyone on every side of every party, of every background, anywhere. I want them to enjoy Earthworm Jim. I believe that is the best, broadest public statement to say about that. I can also very proudly say that I love my CG backers, that they have come a long way in personally supporting me and fighting me. I'm thrilled to have them on there. They've come a long way with me. I mean, those are all things I can easily say and not be in breach of anything.
yeah, and that's the difference. And Comicsgate guys should, I would think, would understand the difference between saying we cannot be a Comicsgate brand affiliated property because of this contractual obligation, and saying that Comicsgate people, this is what the industry says, Comicsgate people shouldn't buy my property or should buy my project, right? They shouldn't buy
I
my
would
book.
never say that. Never. Hey, I had John Malin on my show and he said I would love to sell my books to SJWs. So I'm
Yeah,
just saying, I agree. I'll sell my books to SJWs. I'll sell them to Comicsgate. I sell them to Anti-Comicsgate. I love when people of any stripe read my work and laugh. That really is my goal. It always has been. I believe these are like public, when you're in mass media. I mean, Nick, do you care if you get $100 super chat from Vic or Vic's opposition? I mean,
I
it's
wish
like,
I wish his opposition wasn't broke and wasn't stupid, and they would come on and I wish they would drop $100 super chats all day. I would read whatever dumb thing they have
yeah,
to
it keeps
say.
them from funding Nancy Pelosi at
Yeah.
least if they spend it on you. Wouldn't you rather get the money than give it to Nancy Pelosi?
I here's the thing, if everybody had to agree with everything I've ever said to support me, I don't think I'd have that many supporters,
Yeah,
frankly, cuz
yeah.
and you know this, you walk in a world as a Christian man, and a particular brand of Christian man that makes it so that some of the people you associate with are going to strongly disagree with your very core
Oh yeah,
beliefs. And
yeah.
so you have people in your audience and as your customers and as your friends who are going to disagree with very core fundamental things to you. Now, usually as reasonable adults who can just take disagreement and take the fact that we're all at different stages of life and reality, you can overcome that with simply saying, I love you, brother, no matter what,
That's right.
that's
That
about
is
all it
right.
takes. But no, it's business is business. Where people decide to, whoever decides to, I guess, how to patron you, that's their choice.
That's
and
totally
and
their choice. I totally agree. I'm all for. I don't
and
cast judgments on people for what they choose to do and not to do in general. I just think my job is to put the work out there and then they can choose. I mean, if they want me to have to do or say certain things before they'll buy my things, by the way, that's true of the left also. If I don't do or say certain things, like approve of certain marriages, they're not going to buy my work. And I'm at peace with that. Like, I get it if that's their criteria. I don't hold that criteria on anybody else, but that doesn't mean they can't do it. I mean, that's the free market at
I
work. And
can well, I can tell you that I would take a commie super chat as he was falling out of the helicopter. I mean,
this
I
is
kid. I don't own a helicopter yet.
that would
Uh,
make it his last thing that he ever did.
yeah, and it'd be probably his greatest act of capitalism, and
Yeah,
it'd be perfect.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for answering those. I know those could be for some people uncomfortable questions, but it's the reality of business. You've been in business a long time. You're a professional. You're not
Um,
with a wealth of experience that literally consistently blows my mind every time you come on my show or I come on yours or even talk to you. I'm like, what is this guy doing talking to me? He's got all this you've got accomplishments that I remember from childhood,
Mm, mm.
and that blows me away.
It's
But
I never take the fame seriously, Nick, is the number one thing is like, this, like if you treat people different because you have 50,000 subscribers than you did when you had 100 subscribers, it means you're getting weird. So I never, and we actually have a biblical forbiddance of giving a high important chair to someone of great wealth or great power versus giving someone a low chair of low wealth or low power. So I try to practice the discipline that really is totally attacked by culture, where just everything that we see tries to train us against this. But the idea that every person is a peer, every person is on a journey, and that someone who has a certain amount of ability or fame or whatever is not more important. So as soon as I start acting more famous or acting like I'm swinging my dong around and I'm all that, my farts don't stink, then I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. That's something Dad taught me.
the way I look at it is, I'm thankful for every day, but I also try and take the perspective and remember that this could be gone tomorrow, because YouTube is a fickle mistress,
Yeah,
and anything could happen. I mean, YouTube could theoretically be cut off by Google. They could change the way they monetize. They could do anything. They could do anything. But
yeah. You could
uh,
fall out of complete fashion with the way fashion works. Like it could be incredibly unpopular to be for freedom of speech, like where
right,
you could lose your job or you could lose your friends or you could lose work. If you ever, they could just say, look, freedom of speech is something the alt-right says, and those are all Nazis. And we have to stop these freedom of speech people. What would you do regarding the freedom of speech? Would you keep
they're
advocating for it?
they're literally trying that.
Yeah. They're
And
anti-democracy. They're already talking about removing democracy.
yeah, well, why would they? Why would they want things like that? Why would they want a Republican form of government? Because they, of course, think it means Republicans, like
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah.
But no, it's at some point you have to determine where your risk is outweighed by your principles. For me, I like to pretend, at least, or fantasize that I would defend free speech to the death, but I also would have to look into the eyes of my 5 children as I made that
That's right.
choice. So that's the question. But for now, I'm certainly not going to change my principles on it. But if those principles mean, being killed, that's a different choice that I
Yeah.
pray to God I never have to make. But
And Nick,
yeah.
as you look back on the history of man, would you say that even with all the YouTube oppression, et cetera, that overall we're still one of the freest societies and one of the greatest countries to ever exist on the earth for what we can do?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
These
And
are not dark times.
no, they're not. They could be. That's the scary thing, of course, is that they could be in a moment.
That's right.
Um, right now they're not, and the goal, of course, is to always push towards even more light. We're on an upward trend of freedom, generally speaking, and we should continue that. That's
Yeah.
the, but we do that by not remembering, or by not forgetting where the dark times were.
Is there a year that you'd say there was peak freedom?
Oh well,
Was there a hinge before the 60s or is it
it
after the
it
60s? Is there a hinge that you'd see a fulcrum?
it depends what color you are, I suppose.
Yeah. Well,
Because
yeah.
I mean, the majority white versus majority black, peak freedom for whites would have been somewhere prior to 1865,
Yeah.
where you could literally own other people,
Yeah.
and for a tiny minority of blacks, that's actually true as well. A tiny minority of freedmen who
Yeah.
also made enough money to own their own slaves. That's a true tiny facet of history that gets overlooked, is that there was so much freedom that if you could find your way out of slavery, you could enact that upon other people. And theoretically, a freedman with enough money and luck and timing could have owned a bunch of white slaves. It'd be
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah.
But
But
so
it wasn't fully reciprocated.
no,
And
no, no.
certainly a white man today getting pulled over by a cop or is in an elevator alone with a woman in a purse doesn't have as much to worry about as a black man. I mean, a black man I live in the South, and I'm telling you.
Yeah, I would generally agree with that. And I know there's before the chat is spammed with a bunch of statistical arguments. I know about the statistics. There's all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
And
we're big Thomas Sowell fans.
right. And not
We're
even we're not even going to get into like apologetics or whatever, but I think if you take the average guy my age, 35, white guy and black guy, both of them get pulled over. One of them has apprehension that the other one doesn't have, and whether it's justified or not doesn't really matter because the reality is that's what they've got. Now,
Yeah.
as for is there a peak freedom?
In general for everybody, was there a peak freedom?
I would say it's probably 2000. 2000 I would put that on peak freedom, mainly because
ignorant and bliss.
we really were. And 2001, or I guess the beginning of 2001, September 11th, we sold a lot of freedom back to the government.
Yeah.
Very quickly. And what did we get? We got millimeter wave detection. We've got nightmarish airports. We've got locked cabin doors on our planes. But we didn't get a whole lot safer statistically. We just traded the idea of safety for a lot of freedom. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 2000 was probably peak. As far as speech goes, though, this is a weird difference. Speech is more free now than maybe ever. As far as government goes, private companies are cracking down on speech, but
Sure.
the Supreme Court is largely ruling in favor of speech 9-0 on almost every case that comes before it.
And wouldn't you say that the mere expansion of the internet to allow for more free speech, even if it's controlled by dictators, like they went, oops, I just gave the most powerful television station in the world to Nick Rekieta. Free. Oops.
What a mistake that was.
I know. I'm just saying, where have we ever had an audience of, say, 1,000 people that watch your show and listen to what you say, and you're not overwhelmingly stopped? We might get our pee-pee slapped every once in a while and get taken off the air for a couple months. But overall, it's like, oops, we just let everybody in general say what they want outside of some real extreme stuff.
We certainly have a huge opportunity to do it. That's never existed in human history. We have the ability to communicate with more people today than we've ever had, bar none. There's nothing even close to it. And in a way, that is more free, even though we might be limited in what we can say on those platforms. There is a beauty to that freedom of at least the opportunity to say your message. And we do get wrapped up a little bit in the difference between the freedom of message and the freedom of word, right?
Yeah.
Because
Can you talk about the difference between freedom of message and the freedom of word real quick, just to help me out?
Yeah. Well, the idea is that, let's say white supremacy as a prime example of current year, someone could come out and be an overt white supremacist as long as they don't use a few particular words. They can do it. You can advocate up to really genocide, and without
Planned Parenthood does it all the time.
Right.
they're all white.
Yeah.
They're all basically performing genocide, and they get away with it.
They're
they
have
seen
for quite
a great good in America.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I mean, a guy like, I don't know. I hate to pigeonhole people, but for example, a stereotypical thing would be David Duke, right? So David Duke is a perceived white supremacist. Whether he is or not, I'm not going to get into it. I don't know the guy's heart.
Probably is, but yeah, whatever.
Sure.
I don't want to throw him under the bus if he's not. I would be surprised if he wasn't.
Yeah. Whatever he's allowed to give out his message largely, so long as he avoids a few certain key words or a few certain ideas. And that's interesting to me. Now, I think there is a set of ideas that is probably not allowed even in even without the trigger words. I think anti-Semitism is the most protected, or the most reviled speech.
Not on the
In
left. They're full blown anti Semites now.
Yeah, but it's a weird way that they do it. Overt anti-Semitic speech, or I guess if you're not on the left and you're anti-Semitic,
Yeah.
even the notions of it will evoke this idea that you're suddenly
Yeah.
going to be sending people to the pizza oven ranch
Yeah.
or
But that's
whatever.
because you're a Republican, not because you're a Democrat. And if you're a Republican, you can't do it. You can't fart without them seeing a Nazi sign or something.
Right. So that's the weird one where you don't have to say anything particular. Like there's no specific slur that'll do you in. Obviously, the N word will do you in on racial stuff.
Yeah.
But
As it should probably. I came around to the N word kind of late. Where I just go.
I never think, but I'm such an absolutist on it. I don't think any word ever has power. I think it's always intent. And
Yeah.
so personally, I don't think any word should get anyone banned. But I mean, I wouldn't ban anybody ever.
Yeah.
Under, like, I wouldn't ban a guy advocating for the murder of someone else personally. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, police should maybe look at that guy, but should we ban his speech? No. But maybe they should check in on that one. That one
Do you
seems
think
dangerous.
do you think manners are legally enforceable? Manners?
Like being nice or polite.
Like, is it optional? I'm using the N word, you're not using manners. So I'm just saying, are manners enforceable? Because manners, we know, are very important.
I don't
Yes,
think
sir. Yes,
they.
ma'am. No, sir. No, ma'am. The extinguished gentleman on the other side. And recently we've
Did you
stripped
say the
all
extinguished gentleman?
the distinguished
Oh,
gentleman.
I
I
thought you
hope
said
I said distinguished.
extinguished. I thought I'm like, what are you talking to that Conway guy who just?
Yeah, I only mean distinguished if I mean people want to distinguish. No, the extinguished. I'm only saying, well, I have a lot of whiskey in me. I'm only saying that those manners were what protected us from kind of the brutality of our greatest hatred. So I'm saying, is there a legal reason to protect manners,
Um,
or are they
I
always optional? And so we're all going to throw them out and just start calling each other fascist.
I think they're always optional because they're always subjective. There's just no way around it. Manners are
Sure.
different. You being a boy of the South, you know
Yeah.
that Southern manners are very different than what you'd come across in other places.
That's right.
So I don't think so.
I know that in LA, like, manners don't exist at all.
Yeah, that's an oft complained thing of people who are new to LA or whatever. And of course the LA response is get the F over it, idiot.
That's right. Like, I like the South. I like seeing two 13-year-old boys fight each other over holding the door open for an old lady. That
Yeah.
just as an LA boy, I just like seeing that.
Yeah, and I prefer, and I think we should encourage manners and discourage non-manners. The question, of course, is always, where does government come in, and where does your ability to speak or earn an income get impacted by that stuff? And that's
Yeah.
just where I draw. That's where I draw lines. Social pressure is fine so long as social pressure isn't keeping someone from eating. That's how I go about that.
Yeah, well, my opposition's always trying to keep me from eating. Everybody, everywhere. Get in line, take a number.
Mine too, and that's why I don't like it. That's why I don't like it. I got a couple chats here. Dorby says, "Tell us Shane Petrocelli Holmberg will soon require his expertise in pro pair. What? He'll be hiring an attorney? How embarrassing. Imagine the strategic legal advantage that firm will have, though, with Shane on their team." I don't think anybody's going to sue Shane because he's so useless to the world that and he's so wrong that Shane keeps this guy Doug
Shane.
he keeps positioning himself as if he has insider knowledge. The funny thing is, when you actually have knowledge of what's going on behind the scenes and you've seen the evidence, you realize that he's completely wrong.
Yeah, so I'm here to say, not on behalf of Nick, this is on behalf of me. Shane, you're complete trash. You're a liar you're a liar and a fraud. We're all on to you. You're not fooling anybody, especially this guy. Who
Absolutely.
knows? Who knows Shane's whole agenda and has two thumbs? This guy. You're a fraud. We're calling you out. Humble yourself and probably email Nick, probably put out a big YouTube video and just apologize. Just abject, take your hat off, wring it in your hands, and go, I'm sorry. Nick Rekieta, I'm a fraud. And if there's not tears, we're not going to believe it.
Oh
I just want to
God.
say that to Shane.
Thank you for that. That is
Shane, I'm here to help you. I'm here to do you a favor.
yeah, and someone needs to. Someone needs to.
Yeah.
The small town gamer says, "Here's a question for Doug.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what gave you the idea for Earthworm Jim?" That's
That is a crazy where does any idea come from?
yeah,
It's
I have no idea because you're an art
it's
guy.
yeah, I'm an art guy.
So your ideas come from somewhere that is foreign to me.
I will say that if there's any reasoning to it, it's that I was creating characters every day of my life for most of my life. So by the time I was 27 years old and someone said, "Hey, why don't you create a character and show us what you can do?" Earthworm Jim came out at that moment. But it's not like it was the first time I ever tried creating a character. So there was a lot of back discipline of pounding out. This is what a hero should be. This is what Warner Brothers would do. The eye shape, all that. It's not like I just pulled that out of my butt, in the last minute. There was a lot of kind of backlog of stuff in it. However, the first time I drew Earthworm Jim, like it was in about a 45-minute session that I created Earthworm Jim, Psychro, the princess, Professor Monkey for a head, like all the major characters, Peter Puppy, were all kind of drawn within 45 minutes and had their names. So it was a weird moment. And by the way, when I drew them, I had, this is before a game existed. So what exactly do all of these characters mean? They're just kind of there. You put them in a game. When I work with that game team, right, these are 10 guys who made one of the best Genesis games I'd ever played on a clunky old system, but they had done their back work on their gaming engine and everything. You wrap a character around an incredible game engine, and suddenly it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I never looked back on that time and went, "Oh, Doug, you had it all figured out and you so knew what you were doing." None of us had any idea that 27 years later, people would still be talking about that little fart I put down on a piece of paper. Like it just went into people's conscience at the right time. So, how do you create Earthworm Jim? It's easy. You're just a guy, you're just kind of sketching. I've got sketchbooks full of characters that you've never heard of that are just as good as Earthworm Jim. How do you make Earthworm Jim the legend? That is a freak accident. That is lightning striking that I don't think will ever happen twice in just the right way.
Yeah, well, and there's so much that goes into it. There really is, and
Mhm.
it's hard to explain. But you nailed it. You did it. That's all that matters.
I always feel like I'm the most blessed guy in the world. Like I did not have this coming. And when you go back on reverse engineer, like what clicked into place to make it happen, it's kind of like, how did you meet Lady Rackets? You go like, what method, what tack, what strategy? And you go, well, actually, I was born in this town and this person was in my life because of these X events, right? Like
Yeah,
there's so much of it that you didn't have anything to do with. It was like if you reverse engineer, you go, wow, if I like went left instead of right, I'd have never met Lady Rackets. And that's when you start going, I hope God was in that, or this is his intention, or something about that, because and then you look at how your children look, Nick, and their naming and how they're raised by you and her, like so much fell into place that is so important to you because someone turned left instead of right 20 years ago,
yeah,
or someone moved to a state. It's spooky.
and our story is like that. And just to tease that out, we have hit 60,000 subscribers, and I have promised a Lady Rackets interview, even if
Oh,
so.
congratulations, dude. I didn't know you were up to 60 already.
Yeah, it's
I thought you were
crazy.
lingering down at like 53. You're at 60.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's been just climbing and climbing. So
We
I
hate those 50 numbers. We're all about the 60s numbers now.
yeah, we're into the era of free love.
50s trash. 50s trash. 60s is the future.
None of the uptight 50s. We're into free love and Volkswagens, baby. Uh yeah, so we will be, I assume we'll be discussing the story of our sordid love affair, and how all of that got started and how it led to the numerous children and everything on that interview. Okay, Talbot Links says Doug lost his war colors. Also, Doug sounds like Steve Bissette on Talking Kaiju. Thanks for helping shape the culture of today in awesome ways, Doug. I found about BB the day after it finished. Oh, I found out about Bigfoot Bill the day after it finished. Definitely throwing down for this one.
I
So
appreciate it. Love to have you guys in. I still have my war colors here. They're on. They're just incredibly 52 years old and incredibly tired and metered.
I like the Spike Man says, "Yo, Doug, quantity is job one. Is your quantity
That's a
is
Five Iron Frenzy album cover he's talking
oh
about.
is
Quantity
job
is
one
job one.
is your art, right?
That
That
is.
album slams. Do you have a personal Five Iron song or album that's your favorite?"
I love Five Iron Frenzy. And you know what's weird about that album cover? Um, Quantity is job one. I was going back and forth with them about that, and I sent them a marker comp. You know what a marker comp is in illustration? You do a quick marker.
I have no idea.
Okay, it's called a marker composition, where you just kind of blow down a marker image to send them and say, "This is what I'm thinking of doing for the final painting." And I sent it to Five Iron Frenzy, and they said, "This marker comp, we want to be the album cover." So instead of me doing another image, they ended up going with the marker comp on Quantity as job one.
Sweet deal.
So it was like giving them a sketch. And I never asked for pay from them. That was one of my rules with all of my bands that I worked with was I would say, if I like your band, I'll do your album cover for free, but you can't art direct me. And I'll send you an image. And if you don't like it, you can't put it like on the inside credits or something. You have to just reject it and go with someone else. That was my only rules for all of my album covers I've ever done. And Five Iron Frenzy always went with my first take on everything I made. I did a ton of albums for them. So
That's fantastic.
my favorite song of theirs, I really like is it The End Is Near? There's I did an old man, this old wizard guy with a golf club, kind of a Gandalf looking mad scientist guy with a background. That album's my favorite, I think. Like there's a song called Wizard Shot the Food and stuff. And they're just like a great Nick, if you haven't heard them, like they're a great Christian ska band.
I've
And I
never heard of
mean,
them, but when you say great Christian and ska band all in the same sentence, my hackles go up and my radar goes.
trust me, just trust me, Nick. They're legit. They're absolutely legit. And they're not Christian in that they were never evangelical. They were always too cool for evangelicals.
Oh, oh.
These guys are like on acid, insane band and put on a show. When they came out to Tennessee and Reese Roper, the lead singer, was dressed like Colonel Sanders with a full-blown Colonel Sanders beard. And he comes running full speed on the stage, does a forward flip purposefully, and lands in the middle of the drum set and spews the drums all over the stage. They're completely insane. So I always liked their spirit. I always saw myself when I see my Christianity, it is all about rebellion and punk rock. And they were kindred spirits in that. So,
Well, I'll check them out despite every fiber of my being saying, please don't listen to Christian ska music.
yeah,
But
I mean, ska sucks and most Christian music is so-so.
You can
This
say it
one,
sucks here. It's okay.
this one, when you see my album cover art and you hear the band, you'll say they're they're about it. They're as nerdy as Earthworm Jim. They're very screwed up and on fire and fun. And by the way, the lead singer is like a borderline socialist. Like this is a guy who his political opinions and I complete opposites. Their drummer's an atheist, complete opposites. I will serve those guys till the end of time. Anytime they want to use my art, I love doing stuff for them. So it kind of shows how we can all disagree and still work together.
Yeah, absolutely. Turd Ferguson says, "Well, Doug, 20 years later, and I'm backing Earthworm Jim. Thanks for
Oh.
always responding on Twitter and interacting with your fans. Many times I was stoked to get a response from you. Can't wait for this book. Cheers, brother." So,
Yeah, it's going to be big. We're at 126, 643. So I appreciate you guys.
yeah, and again, if you're new to the stream or whatever, check out in the description of the video. The top link is to Earthworm Jim's Indiegogo page. It was launched yesterday. It's doing fantastic. And
Nick, I can't thank you enough even for bringing me on the show and backing this. This is what I need. It really helps. And for you to share your audience is huge. I'm going to do them right with the story.
Well, you're going to have to come back on again during the campaign, of course. And we'll talk more. We'll talk more about this stuff for sure.
Yeah, we're going to run this campaign into the ground. This thing is going to be, I think I'm leaving it open till October or something till I print. So,
and it should be run into the ground because this is an opportunity for guys my age, my generation, whatever you want to say, to reach back into their childhood in a way that we keep doing over and over. I mean, go to an arcade and play Space Invaders. I mean, look at what we're doing here. Yeah. We've got bars dedicated to old arcade culture. We've got a revolution. We've got stores that sell Nintendo, SNES, and Genesis games almost exclusively. There is definitely, we're constantly looking back to our childhood in a way that I don't know if other generations even had the opportunity to do so. But
we were we were consumers of mass media. And by the way, Earthworm Jim, they just announced that it is going on the Sega Mini. So when the Sega Mini comes out with all the little games already loaded on it, the original Earthworm Jim game will be on the Sega Mini.
Fantastic.
They're doing their own thing. It's just, it's like, it's what we were raised on was all this kind of pop junk. I was raised on Apple Jack cereal.
Yeah, but I see we get this opportunity now to do this in a way that I don't think our last generation did. I remember how excited my mom was when she found Quisp cereal on a shelf.
Was too. Dude, when they re-released Quisp cereal, that was me in like second grade. They had a big war between Quisp and Quake and who would win, and I would buy Quisp cereal. They did a re-release of it. I went, Quisp. It's a little egghead guy with a propeller on his head. I'm with your mom on that.
Yeah, but I think it was so magical to have Quisp cereal because my parents were born in the 50s, and there wasn't the late 50s, I guess. There wasn't really an opportunity, I don't think, for them to really re-experience pop culture in the way that we've had, because pop culture was still developing when they were kids.
It was new.
Yeah,
it was
the Beatles,
new, but in
right?
the 60s, with the mainstreaming of manufacturing of plastic goods and things like that, in the late 60s, they had like Tide detergent would come with a pogo figure. A pogo. I've got a pogo comic up there from 1966, an original pogo from Walt Kelly, one of the greatest comics ever made. It was weird to see it develop, and the Beatles did it really huge with Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine went deep in me. But that was when people could start doing weird things with the artwork of the 60s.
Yeah, like Peter Max, right?
Peter Max is the big artist, a huge influence on me, by the way.
And I just a couple, like 2-3 years ago, my parents got to meet Peter Max.
Yeah.
And they bought 2 pieces of his art. One is the Umbrella Man or whatever, the very famous it's a version of the Umbrella Guy or whatever. Not Tug. But you know what I mean. That picture. and they also bought a custom, a commission piece of Peter Max, and it was this ability to reach back into their past that I really don't think that generation had. Our generation has the ability to do it, and we are doing it in absolute spades.
Yeah.
You look at the movies that are coming out; they're comic book based. You look at even going back to Lord of the Rings and Ender's Game a couple years ago. We're reaching back hard into my generation's childhood and adolescent years, and the next generations are doing that. And that's the cool thing about Earthworm Jim. And I think the timing of this is perfect because we're at like peak reach back, and if you can reach back, capture the moment that happened for people, but also provide them something new and add value to it. And that's why I love the comic.
Yeah. And another thing, by the way, I've never told this story once. Not once did I ever tell like in the game, you folded out a little poster and it had a little frames of the suit falling to earth and it fell on a worm and it became Earthworm Jim. That was all you knew of the Earthworm Jim story. This is the first time in 27 years I've been able to tell the epic story of the entire. I made an entire 5-book saga. This is the first of 5 books of why the Earth? Where does the suit come from? What's its purpose? Why is Earth not on any of this insect planet's maps? Who's Princess What's Her Name? What's Psychro's backstory? Like I'm going into all the throwaway characters that were throwaway and I'm giving them an epic arc. Like you're going to learn about Evil the cat, why he exists, what moves Professor Monkey for a head. I'm finally able to tell the story. For 27 years, Nick, I've done 18 graphic novels and I wasn't able to tell the story I'm most known for.
Yeah.
And so now I've actually gotten really good at drawing and writing. And now I got unleashed on Earthworm Jim. I've never been more prepared and ready to go crazy. Here's these are the note cards right here. Earthworm Jim note cards. This is the whole first episode script. I'm about 3/4 of the way through the script, writing it. I go off these note cards for structure.
Yeah, that's why I don't. That's why I don't actually write stories because I hate note cards. I'm racist against them specifically.
Well, the note card race wanted me to tell you as an ambassador of the note card race that there's nothing harmful about them. They love you. They're waiting for you to come back and embrace them.
Well, we'll see.
You just don't like outlining. I mean, note cards are outlining. You don't like outlining and structure and like putting that structure out on the table in front of you. How can people operate without note cards?
Doug, go to law school and you will never outline again.
Really? They just go straight to contract with all their little revisions?
No, you have to outline for finals so flipping hard. Because it's just memorizing it's summarizing your entire semester into a 2-page outline that I never want to do it again. I never do.
My favorite thing that I've been in is I've been involved in the contract back and forth with my lawyers who are going back and forth on a deal, and they do the little note revisions. Little blue line comes out and it shows what they changed.
Yeah.
And every time the opposing lawyer changes it, you're like, what an asshole.
Yeah.
Why did he do that at the last minute? And then your guy puts in your little thing and you're going like, yeah, correct. You're representing my voice. And the other lawyer is going like, what an asshole.
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
Well, and the reality is that since 2 lawyers are involved, both statements are true.
That's true. Except for my lawyer, who's actually the good.
He's actually a good guy.
He's actually the good. He always has the correct opinion. The other guy's lawyer, kind of shady.
I'll believe it when I talk to your lawyer and see it. Andy M says, just tuned in, but will watch on my way back to work tomorrow, or my way to work tomorrow. Hearing that a salesman will sell to and treat all equally is in rare supply today and deserves to make money. I grew up on Earthworm Jim. So excited. Fantastic. Dias Striker says, I walked away from the entire Twitch creative community, losing 10 clients after watching one after another get partner, massive subs, and let the fame go to their heads. F them and their echo chamber egos. Well, and remember, the guys who let the fames go to their heads divorce their wives in public on Twitter and then lose all of their subscribers and all of their money in a day. That's how that goes. Nova Zero says, manners are preferable to a winky face, smiley face, winky smile, smile, smile. That's a reference to Ron Toye in this
I
Vic
thought she was
stuff.
making fun of my Tourette because I have a natural wink that happened
No,
my
no,
whole
it's
life. I wink.
Monica Rial's perpetual non-married partner, Ron Toye. He will, when he's getting stressed out or angry because his tweets will be littered with smiley faced emojis. And
Weird.
he has admitted that that is a method that he uses to deal with high stress situations, which is a terrible thing to do because now
Yeah.
we just know and can make fun of it.
Illiterate trash. Quit using emojis. Use your words like an adult, preferably using your real name and talking on video like Nick Rekieta does every night.
Exactly. This one is actually below my $20 immediate read, but I want to read it because it's for you and I know you have to go soon.
Sure.
This is from Panboy Lando Soy Child Dong Lover.
Yep.
And he says, "We miss LARPing with Doug. Do what's right by Comicsgate, Nobleman Doug, and go the extra mile for the people that feel you owe them the BFB sketchbook. Respectfully, Panboy, #war campaign." And I want to field this one first before you say anything. Panboy, we actually talked about this and the difficult business reality of trying to fulfill an individual order on something like this, just due to the nature of production and how it works. And if you missed that, I encourage you to go back and watch the first part of the stream where Doug addressed this question very specifically, and hopefully you can find some solace in that answer, because it's a good answer. It really is.
It's the most robust answer I can give. There's no spin in it either, Lando. And Lando's he's an old pal of mine from War Campaign. We've done LARPing together, and some of the War Campaign guys just weren't okay with that. And I'm okay with them not being okay with that. But Lando, you should go back and look at my explanation because, and I did explain that to Ro and Ethan and everybody that, I ran into trouble on this campaign. Not terrible trouble. It was only on 106 people. But I don't take those people lightly because they gave me money just like everybody else did, and they deserve an entertainment experience. But I hope you'll hear me out earlier in this show on the explanation on the difficulties of printing and international shipping. Is very weird. I've got 4 Russian backers who've been on the last 4 campaigns I've done. This goes back like 5-7 years. I've never shipped those guys a book the first time to the Russian Federation. Like, you send a book to Russia, the books flat out don't deliver. So on Bigfoot Bill, like, they're paying $70 for shipping on a book. And it really is to cover 2 shipments, which is my average to Russia. So it's weird trying to run a business this way. Like, I have to accommodate everyone's international shipping, and they are not as stable as US, and it ends up costing. And frankly, a lot of other comic campaigns of my friends who do who do comic campaigns, they flat out cut out international because 90% of your work is international and 90% of your profit margins are international. It's strange, but thanks, Lando. I appreciate the comment.
There you go. Brett Wyatt says, "Hey, Nick, I have a GoFundMe called Star Wars 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Yay or nay? Regardless if it reaches its goal, all money is to be donated to the American Red Cross. If it reaches a goal, I will go see it." I think that's a great GoFundMe. I don't know if that violates their policy or not. It's pretty funny. That's good. I guess go check it out, guys. I don't know.
I'd fund that. But yeah, it sounds like
I don't know why you'd subject yourself to seeing that Star Wars movie, frankly. The American Red Cross should be honored.
Well, that will be one good that comes of it.
Yeah.
Seeing that movie.
Ink Penification says, "Typical American stealing the idea of helicopter rides from Dame Pesos. In all seriousness, I swear you might have been an entertainer in another lifetime. When is the roast of Rackets with Lady Rackets?" Soon. We have to find a day where she can actually be up late. And hopefully we'll have it very, very soon. Sometime here in May, is the goal in the next week or two. But Our schedule is very tough because of the children, and it's end of year, which means for every activity that you normally have one of during the week, at end of year you have two of that activity every week that you would have one.
It's going to be a madhouse this summer,
Right.
is what you're saying. Madhouse. And the lady Rackets has been right here in my studio recording with Nick. Such a lovely couple. I can't wait for you guys to come back. Come back and hang this summer.
I'm hoping in August we can. We'll see.
That'd be
We'll
great.
see.
August is good. All right. Can I jump?
I've got 3 more, and then you can jump.
Hit
3
me,
more.
because then you got to give him the Vic Mignogna thing.
Yes. The Big Red Bear says, Earthworm Jim was a major escape for me. Earthworm Jim 2 is my favorite Sega game. People boycotting you is dumb. I strongly disagree with your politics, but if everyone needed to agree with me, I'd be alone and boycotting everything.
You're speaking my language, buddy. That is me exactly.
I lied. It's 4. Sorry. But
okay,
go on.
Okay. But I appreciate that. Kindred spirit.
The Texan 83 says, I gotta know, Doug, did you actually catch my Elon quote tweet reference? Also, there should be a side character, something called Earthworm Jim, in honor of Quartering having a line flub the other week in a video. Lol. Did you catch his Elon quote tweet reference?
I did see an Elon Musk thing when he was talking about, was it Jeff Bezos that he was quoting?
I don't know. But it was from the Texan 83. I don't know if that helps.
I don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't remember. You can retweet it. I'll see it in the morning because I'm going to go to bed.
Knight of Hopex says, Doug, you're enough of a culture warrior just stating your beliefs in public and continuing to do business. Your detractors are clowns. If you choose to self-immolate and lose your contracts, that wouldn't do any of us any good. Keep up the good work, guy.
I'm fighting the fight and walking a razor's edge. I've got 3 movie deals right now that are like hanging by a thread. And if I do one little wrong move left or right, all 3 of them could collapse.
We didn't even talk about your homophobia and misogyny.
Yeah, I know, right? That would, and by the way, on all 3 of them, as soon as they announce them in Daily Variety or Hollywood Reporter, first thing that happens is the giant left-wing monsters come out and just attack, saying, how can you do this? And these are with the top studios and the top names at these studios in Hollywood.
Right.
And I just got to sit here and just take it. I just got to go like, well, they might kill the deal or they might not. So one thing I don't like seeing is when my people who are backing me start creating swirl. I'm going, I don't need this. It's like we need to get the circle firing range and start pointing the sharp instruments outside of the circular firing range, because we're all on the same page. We're fighting for liberty, fighting for free speech, fighting for opinions that are strong, even when they disagree with you. That's what I need, because my career in Hollywood, that's where I make my real living. And it's always hanging by a thread for 20 years. But yeah. I kind of like it. It's like, I kind of go, this is kind of cool, Nick.
Then this is the last one.
Okay.
And this is a critical one. I'll warn you in advance. Fair Jack enough. Straw says, Zach had a bunch of books destroyed and offered every single one a new book at a loss. That's Comicsgate, not oops, sorry backers and laughing at them.
I never laughed at anyone. That's not true. I never laughed at anyone.
Yeah, I didn't get that impression.
No. And even still, I don't know what he's talking about, because I'm still fulfilling. The truth is, I have 400 Bigfoot Bill main comics left. Everyone who lost a book or got one damaged gets one shipped to them, regardless of, you know what I mean? Like, there's guys who had a little dent in their book, and I sent them a new book. About $2,000 worth of books. So again, Jack Straw, no offense, but you need to know what you're talking about before you throw that kind of stuff about me, because I actually have the facts. I recognize your name, and you could easily have approached me on Twitter and talked about this, but you chose not to. So that's just a little strange. I don't think I have that coming to me. I don't have that coming to me.
And again, I know that some of these guys might have missed the earlier discussion, but there's a reality with the manufacturer that doesn't actually allow Doug to just print another book. And part of that, and this is no slight no slight at all to any of the other Comicsgate creators or whatever. But Doug's book is a hardbound book with gold leaf and embossing and a glossy finish that is a different product entirely from some of the more comic book styled works that were being produced. And
Yeah.
that has a different reality in printing. I can go to a local printer here in my town and I can print a comic book for fairly inexpensive, because this one particular printer does one-offs. Printing a fully bound book with gold leaf and an embossed cover and all of that stuff is going to cost an absolute fortune more, if they can even do it as a one-off.
This book is obscene to make, and Richard Meyer is a good friend of mine, and so is Ethan, by the way. These are good friends of mine. They're not printing these kinds of books to replace. Their books are nowhere near what it costs for this to replace. And by the way, because Richard Meyer's books got destroyed by rain, that's partially why I have these plastic wrapped in a complete bag, waterproof bag, that saved my shipment. So I'm learning from them just as imperfectly as we're learning from each other. And I'm trying to replace them as fast as I can. That making of book is the one thing for 106 people that I could not back. And literally, it is 3 guys who complained who didn't get the book. And the rest are people who are coming in and commenting on their behalf. It's not that they didn't get the book, it's they're complaining on behalf of 3 people. So I just want to say, like, the swirl going out there is people, it's kind of like all the people that are against me for being against gay marriage. It's not actual homosexuals getting married that are against me. It's white, straight leftists that are against me, who are speaking on their behalf. And I'm telling you that you guys are not doing these 3 guys a favor by doing this, but everyone has a right to their opinion. I'm a big guy. I can take it. I'm going to do my best on the next campaign to order even more over what I think it's going to get. And it's always a good problem to have not enough stock for the amount of people that want your work. So I appreciate the compliment. I think I get how frustrating it is to pay for something and not get it. That's just flat out. It's been built up for all these months, and you get pissed off. I hear you, and I'm hurt with you. I'm bummed with you, and I lost $18,000 worth of hurt. So I feel like I gave it the office. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Well, buddy, I'll let you. Oh wait, I lied. There's one last one.
One last. Here we go. No, it's cool. It's cool.
This is, I promise, this is the last one.
I'm not drooping or anything yet, so I'm kind of okay with it. I'm still not drooping.
Balabalald says, "Evening, gents. Good evening to you. Both of you are fantastic, and in particular, I wanted to show off an old doodle Doug did for my fiance a long time ago at a Comic-Con in Calgary, Alberta. So give me just a second. I'll pull this up on screen share.
I love that Calgary Comic-Con. That was 2011 or 10, I think.
Here we go. 1 second. Let me...
Boy, I hope I did a good job. If this thing sucks, I'm going to be really upset now.
Well, you'll have to decide. I'm not an art. So here we go. Here is the screen share for you.
Oh, look at that. They wanted a Mr. Black. That's a cat scratch cat kind of doodle. Sure.
So
that was a doodle in a book.
There it is. Thank you for sharing that, Balabalald. Definitely go check out Doug's show if you want to see more of him and talk to him more about the sketch or other things. But most importantly, of course, go ahead and check out in the description that I have on the video. You can find an access to Doug's Earthworm Jim Indiegogo. As I get through this bottle of Duke, I'm really close to buying that original inked Earthworm Jim page.
Oh, Nick, I'll take care of you, buddy. I know that you like the art. I'll take care of you.
I do. I want to have it hanging in the office here. I buy art for Lady Rackets, but sometimes you got to buy art for you.
Because she really doesn't want you to hang all of that Warhammer stuff all over the house. And the bedroom's
No,
no good.
no, but I could probably get away with an original inked Earthworm Jim page
Yeah.
somewhere in the house because it's just cool. So,
I love doing original art. I love my original art backers. We're almost at 127. Your show, dude, has busted this thing through the roof.
well, good. I'm glad. And
Killing it.
as the campaign progresses, don't be a stranger. Of course, come on my show. If I can come on yours, happy to.
I'd love to have you on. I'll just keep sending you the link. We can hang.
Yeah, just let me know. It always just depends on, how many children I have to wrangle
Yeah.
/ staple to a
Yeah.
wall.
And you can always just silence your microphone and run off to get those screaming kids.
Yeah. But I would love to do that. So please,
Brother, it is
let me
so
know.
good to see you again. I want to hang again in person, get a cigar, get some whiskey going, have the
Yeah.
ladies over.
Well, I want to come down to your place, but I want you to come visit Mike Nelson, and
Oh,
and I'll join you guys for
I would
Infinite.
love to hang with both you guys. It'd be so easy to get Mike like that. It just, I don't like traveling. Like for
Well,
me to leave my house, it's like shooting me with a gun in the head. So if you want to shoot me in the gun, shoot me in the head with a gun.
Well, why don't I invite you to come to my house and actually fire a gun in my backyard? We will shoot skeet right off the back patio and
Dude,
drink
that I'll
whiskey.
do. I'll bring my pump action shotgun if they'll let me put it on the plane.
You can check it for sure. Yeah. Don't bring
Dude,
it as a
that'd be.
carry-on. Strong recommend against that.
You mean I can't load it and bring it as a carry-on? What's wrong with these fascists?
Yeah. What a bunch of commies. They won't let us bring on carry-on pump action shotguns.
Loaded pump action shotgun, bunch of fascists, total SJWs.
But definitely let me know when you're doing a stream. I'd love to come on, and I will certainly have you back on before the campaign is over.
I appreciate you so. Oh man, we're hicking up again. We just froze up.
Oh, I think we're back though. We got it. We good now? I hear you just fine. Oh, nope, now you're frozen. Or you're just sitting there pranking me. That's a possibility as well. We may have lost Doug. Look at this. He's gone. I think he's gone. We may have lost Doug. Well, in case we did lose Doug, when he sees this, hopefully, thank you for coming on, my friend. He might pop back in here. Let's I've got a bunch of super chats to read, of course. I have something for you out in Vic. Hey, Doug, you're back. You're back.
What? This is me frozen.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. Let me let you sign off proper.
Oh, okay.
Rather than me like giving you a eulogy.
Yeah, right. To the death of Doug. Guys, thanks so much for having me on, Nick. We'll hang later. God bless you, brother. I gotta go to bed.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
God bless you all. Earthworm Jim comic. Nick Rekieta.
Peace. Come on.
Vic Mignogna is coming. Secret information, but Vic Mignogna
It
sounds like
is.
lasagna.
And it's juicy. It's juicy.
It's juicy. It involves blood.
Viscera of various types.
Viscera, like the alien queen with like all that hero syrup just coming out of the mouth. It's like that level of raining juice coming down.
Yeah.
Like the drippings off an alien queen's mouth. God bless you all. Good night. Thanks, Nick.
Later, Doug. Peace.
See you, brother.
All right, guys. It's down to you and me here on Rekieta Law. For those of you who have been lambasting unfairly my shirt, this is an Ecuador soccer jersey. I am a pretend soccer fan, okay? I love soccer. I have played soccer as throughout my childhood and adult life. Never good at it. Don't make any mistake. Always very mediocre at soccer, but I love to play it. So when my family goes on either side, either my side or my wife's side, whenever they go out to a different country, they tend to bring me back a soccer jersey from that country, especially if it's a World Cup year. This is not a World Cup year shirt, but this is an Ecuador soccer jersey. that I got after some of my wife's family did a mission trip in Ecuador. The soccer jerseys feel nice. They're cool. And as you guys know, I'm allergic to heat. They have, they're light material. They wick sweat away from you and stuff like that. So they just, they're nice to wear for me. I like to wear them. So that's why, football, right? Football, not soccer. Sorry to you guys. But that's the shirt, and you can hate it all you want, but I'm wearing it today. And that's just because, well, that's what I'm wearing today. Okay. We've got some beautiful. I can only tease this for now. I'm going to show you guys some of this. Tomorrow we're doing a full stream. I believe, I haven't confirmed this. What is happening? I haven't confirmed this fully, but Anime Outsiders should be in the stream tomorrow, I believe. So tomorrow we're going to talk about this full. I have evolved my thinking a little bit on Jamie Markey, on Funimation. The big news, of course, is Funimation was served today. And there's some confusion over it. I've got people asking me what's Funimation's response time and stuff like that. Let me suggest this to you very specifically. Funimation, from what I understand, has entered into an agreement with Beard Harris, Bullock and Hughes on a specific date to respond. So it's not going to follow the rules. Funimation has accepted service and has, as part of that accepting of service, agreed to a discovery date, or not a discovery date, an answer date that is outside of the normal rule of service and answer. So what that specific date is, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I would guess, because typically when you make an arrangement like that, I would guess the answer date is longer than normal. So maybe it's an extra week or 2 weeks. Don't know. It's a very, very common thing to do when you're not like trying to really go for the throat of the other party. So I don't want this to read as Funimation needs something. I see someone saying Funimation needs more prep time. I really don't think Funimation needs more prep time, but if I'm reading this, Funimation and Beard Harris, Bullock and Hughes are in a more amicable discussion than Monica Rial and Toye's lawyer and Beard Harris, Bullock and Hughes. So that's a big thing. That's a huge thing, actually, because as you know, and as maybe people might want to remind Funimation, Monica and Toye threw them straight under the bus. And I have so many thoughts about yesterday's answer that I've been processing and working through because it's really quite an incredible document for so many reasons. And this is why I've evolved my thinking on Jamie Markey as well. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to attempt to do this. It's not going to work. I'm going to talk to you about Jamie Markey while I get a document ready. The unfortunate thing is I have to redact something from this document. And I cannot disclose where the document came from. I can only tell you this is one of my sources. But I have to in real time. So let me actually do this. Give me 1 second, because I think if I open the document right now, it will display to all of you, which would be a real shame. Not what we're going for. 1 second. Don't leave. I'm still here. I'm going to talk you through this darkness and through this pain. I definitely don't want you to go away or anything like that. I just have to open this document, and I think it'll open, due to the nature of how I have stream set up, right in the way. Okay. Here we go. Here we come back. All right. Now that I've got this, I just need to go ahead and redact a couple things from this document. Very, very important to do. And I'm going to tease out a part of this. So while I do that, though, let's talk Jamie Markey. I was kind of making fun of Jamie Markey, right? Because she's dodging service. The reality of dodging service is simple. It doesn't help you much unless you think you can outlast the other party, okay? What good is it to dodge service that is definitely going to happen at some point? It's definitely going to happen. Hold on, I'm making sure. I got to redact phone numbers. These are text messages, y'all, and I have to redact phone numbers. I cannot tell you where I got these. But I can tell you they're from one of my very reliable Kamehacon sources. So, I mean, you're going to know the context of these immediately. What happened? Stupid thing. Just a second. How annoying is that? Sorry, I didn't mean to go blank on you again, but my Adobe crashed right when I was doing that. So, anyway, these are, this is from one of my very good Kamehacon sources, and you would know from context, of course, that this is involving Kamehacon. I will not tell you where I got this, and I will be talking about this in greater detail. I'm just going to show you 3 screenshots of text messages here. What a disaster. 1, 2, 3. 3 screenshots of text messages here. And then that is the preview for tomorrow, okay? So, just so you know. These are regarding Kamehacon. Remember, they, according to Shane, who is always wrong about everything. Shane, the dumbest person in any room, including the room itself, Holmberg, says that there was no tortious interference with Kamehacon. So, let me suggest that this involves Kamehacon. It didn't show everything, actually, not at all. That's actually something completely different, but that's actually not what I'm going to show you. I'll show you that tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. This next thing is something different. This is a multi-page document. You only saw one brief thing. I might have to blur it. I don't know. Whoops. We'll figure that out later. I might have to blur that after the stream, but that's actually not what I'm going to show you. That's something different. So, anyway. Don't worry. That's not actually what I'm going to show you. Anyway, oh my God. Here we go. But I will go ahead and blur that out. But this is from one of my Kamehacon sources, and we will deal with this, of course. So here, look at this, and then I'll talk about Jamie Markey. This is a text from Ron Toye. I'm not blue balling you. This is a text from Ron Toye. Hey, bud. Sorry my schedule is insane. January 10th. I'm sure it's too late to sponsor the event, but I wanted to see if there is a possibility of having a vendor booth. Sizable section. Could we do a call or an online meeting? I would have my business partner on the call, so there wouldn't be delays in communication. Also, this is Ron Toye, if my number isn't saved in your phone. Smiley. So, that's interesting, isn't it? What's the next text? January 10th. January 10th, response. All good, man. We're actually just wrapping up our sponsor pushes, so you still have time there. Plus, if you're wanting to set up something promotional, it would need to be done in that format versus being on the floor with Dragon Ball merch. We have a packet for it I can send over. I think we can make it worth the time for you and your partners. When's a good time to talk? Wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if there was evidence of things like tortious interference and defamation to conventions? Like, wouldn't it be funny if it was written down somewhere? Would that be funny, Ron? Would that be funny, Monica? If it was written down somewhere, exactly what you sent to conventions to try and get them to not employ Vic Mignogna? To induce him to breach a contract that existed? That'd be weird, wouldn't it? If it was written down somewhere. Maybe. And like could be authenticated because it was maybe yours, right? What else do we have here? I'm going to show one more page of this. Tomorrow will be the full release of what I have. And let me suggest that my source indicates that this is only a fraction of what has been given to the plaintiff's legal counsel. That there is significant other evidence available to the plaintiff Vic Mignogna's legal counsel that will not be included in what I have. I only have a small amount of what's out there. So should we do this last one? I think we should do this last last page. Here we go. What do we got here? Yes, smiley face. So I'm guessing you can figure out who this is from. That sounds great. Let me talk with Andy. I don't know who Andy is, but I'm guessing we can figure that out if we needed to. I'm good for a call at 7 to 8 p.m. today, but I would like to get us on a call together. He's in a meeting, but I will shoot you the times once I get with him. But for sure, I'm good at 7 to 8 today if you're available. And then a response. Sorry about missing the call. I had a client who had an issue with their closing and the realtor was blowing me up. I'm meeting with Andy at 5 and I will update you soon. My email is rtoye@fairwaymc.com. If you would like to email me the packages, will do. Then we've got 11 days later, Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. Hey, wondering how the meeting went. Was kind of waiting to send that over till you got a confirm. Oh, and what's next? Wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know what is next in that chain of text messages? Wouldn't it be fun to know what was next in that line of text messages? Oh, hold on. Let me move this over. Oh, should I show you the next one? I have a bunch of pages. Should I show you the next one? I can do one more page, right? Sorry, I don't mean to do this to you. I don't mean to do this to you, but I just previewed the next one. And I think just to get the flavor, the musk and the aroma of what's going on, you need this one more page. Okay? One more page. Just for the chat. Because I love the chat. Here we go. Here we go. Here it is. Here it is. Hey! Wondering how the meeting went. Was kind of waiting to send that over till you got a confirm. Let me know. Thanks. What's this? This is January 22nd, y'all. January 22nd. Sorry about that. It's been intense here. Also, with the Vic thing. It's January 22nd. There wasn't a Vic thing yet. I hope you realize that there wasn't a Vic thing. There wasn't even at this point an investigation, was there? Not a public one. Certainly nothing public had been announced with Vic Mignogna on the 22nd of January. Sorry about that. It's been intense here. Also, with the Vic thing, we might not be able to sponsor this year with him being a guest. Is that Ron Toye conditioning sponsorship on Vic's contract existing? No. That wouldn't be a condition of sponsorship on someone else's contract existing or not existing, and possibly an inducement to breach. I will get everything lined up and keep you posted because we want to work with you either now or in the future. We just need to make sure we don't get caught up in a... So you're saying the internet hearsay is causing you to withhold sponsorship? Just want to be clear. It's not just the internet. He assaulted 3 close friends of mine and one additional person that's even closer, but I can't say much because there is what he means, is an investigation going on. This will get ugly. So we are talking with our legal team to ... Man, it's really, really unfortunate that there might be text message evidence of tortious interference with an existing contract. God, that would be, especially if someone was holding themselves out as representing a company that would provide sponsorship and then threatening to pull that sponsorship or not provide that sponsorship contingent on the status of an existing contract, and then alleging a defamatory statement of assault. God, that would be really, really unfortunate if that were true. Wouldn't it? But remember, Shane, there's no evidence. There's no evidence. No one would possibly have any evidence of tortious interference with a contract. How on earth would someone go about proving such a crazy, crazy claim? How on earth would anybody do that? I don't know. I don't know, Shane. How would someone go about proving defamation, tortious interference with the contract, possibly civil conspiracy, considering Ron Toye? Guys, do you realize what happened? Take stock stock real quick. Pause yourself for a minute and take stock of how many stories there are in the investigation from Sony about Vic Mignogna. How many investigations have we discussed? 1, 2, 3. How many people does Ron Toye mention in that? 1, 2, 3. Plus Monica. 3 plus Monica. Does that mean that Jelly Bean, Office Kiss, and fourth undisclosed story involving 2 people all came from really good friends of Toye? No, 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 no. That would be ridiculous, right? That would be the stupidest possible civil conspiracy you could think of if there were 1, 2, 3, 4 people involved directly in an investigation with Funimation that were all very good friends of Monica and Ron. Wouldn't that be really interesting if that crazy conspiracy theory were that 1, 2, 3 really good friends and one person even closer were directly affiliated with Ron Toye? How in God's name would anybody possibly assert a civil conspiracy? How embarrassing would it be for Sony to find out that everyone involved in a particular investigation that they conducted that is not only absolutely laughable, but every single person in that investigation, and how does Ron know it's only 4? But every single person in that investigation was directly linked as really close friends. How embarrassing. How pathetic. And man, Funimation. If you are by some stretch of some unholy imagination still thinking that this cabal of idiots is going to be a good ally, I would humbly suggest that you start reassessing your legal position and your strategy. Because it kind of looks like your company was induced into investigating something by a specific group of close friends. And let me tease something to you guys. This will be revealed tomorrow in full, in his own words. But 2 of the accusers, I guess technically 3 of the accusers, literally lived with Ron Toye. Hey, Funimation. Take a look at that answer that they filed, and you assess whether Toye and Monica have a defense that's compatible with yours. Because I'm telling you right now, you go ahead and take a look at that answer, and it requires you to be at fault. They want their end game logically, and if you look at that answer, it's basically a suicide pact with all of the other defendants. But you look at that answer, Funimation, and you tell me that part of their strategy is not establishing joint and several liability with you, with Funimation, because you'll have to pay the bill. And they know it. And trust me, their lawyer, who appears by all accounts to be an accomplished litigator, turned in the dumbest answer I've seen since Kevin Landau. The dumbest answer imaginable in this case. Unless part of their game is to defame Vic 100% of the way, going full scorched earth, and praying to God they can attach joint and several liability to you. Hey, Funimation, you know what's really interestingly absent from that answer? What's missing? Do they, for one moment in that answer, chat, I know you're with me on this, chat, because you guys are smart and paying attention to this. For one moment in that answer, do they deny that Ron Toye is an agent of Funimation? I didn't notice it yesterday. I noticed it today. Not once do they deny that Ron Toye is an agent of Funimation. In the factual background that is superfluous and unnecessary, they could have pointed out that Ron Toye is not an agent of Funimation. They could have specifically accepted that particular strain of tweets saying that this was obvious hyperbole. In specific, that Ron Toye was employed with Funimation, an obvious joke. They could have claimed. They didn't. Nowhere. Why, Funimation? Why on earth would they, while blaming your statement for firing Vic Mignogna, for blaming you, for specifically laying blame on your tweet that alleges that an investigation was the reason Vic Mignogna was fired, and you know that's probably not ultimately true, and if the people involved in that investigation and the people involved in leaking it are deposed in succession, you may have trouble upholding that concept. But they didn't deny it for a moment. And they didn't deny Ron Toye's status as agent of Funimation. Why? Because if they can link you to it, they don't pay. And they know it, and you know it. You're the business, you'll foot the bill. No matter how high it is. You've got Sony pockets, right? Monica Rial and Ron Toye and their disgusting lawyer, Casey Eric, have sold Funimation upriver, hoping no one noticed. But someone noticed. Someone noticed. That's curiously absent, isn't it? Man, that would be weird. It would be weird if that could be established, if any of that could be established. Hey, Funimation, have you considered that there's possibly federal law? Possibly. Federal law and guidelines about privacy and in employee investigations that might have been breached by someone at Funimation, leaking that information to Ron Toye, a non-member, non-employee? Or is he an employee? You guys haven't repudiated that statement. But I tell you what, Funimation, you have an easy way out. Funimation probably has the easiest way out of this, in all honesty. Well, Funimation and Marky, Toye and Rial? I mean, in theory, I guess they could still settle, but they just filed a defamatory answer on purpose with the full intent of defaming Vic through the court system. It's going to be hard to walk that back. Funimation and Marky haven't answered yet, have they? I would be rushing to be the first person to settle. I would be rushing. If I were Funimation, I would be like, dear God, what is happening? Because Funimation, you have to know that a jury that knows that you are backed by Sony will be liberal with the amount of money that they award to an employee that you guys allowed to be defamed by your agents for months. I'm guessing a jury in Texas would be happy to award multiple millions of dollars to someone like Vic, a Christian man wrongly accused, maliciously accused by a conspiratorial group that then utilized Funimation and Sony Interactive as their platform to destroy just one man. One man with endless support of fans in wake of any sort of accusation. A man who it could easily be produced that he has helped people deal with depression, suicide, social ostracism, disabilities, sadness. A guy who goes out of his way to talk to fans versus the cold billions of Sony Entertainment and their reckless maintenance of employee confidentiality. If only there were some way that Vic could show that a non-employee, or maybe he is an employee, I don't know, an idiot named Ron Toye had details about an investigation that hadn't even been conducted yet and used them to defame Vic Mignogna to someone whom he had a contract with. Man, if only that were possible. I don't know. I don't know how we would prove it. But I know how Funimation gets out of that quandary. You have Ty's number. You know the score already, Funimation. You've known the score for a while. You have Ty's number. You know how to fix that. These people will absolutely drag you down with them. You got a new CEO. You have new streaming deals. You've got canceling old contracts. You've got new contracts. Really need this publicity? Seems like something I'd get out of right away. Personally, I don't know. I'm not your lawyer. Skeet Neat says, Doug TenNapel has a resemblance of Earthworm Jim and Bigfoot Bill. No offense to the residents of Cincinnati. Can you please clean the river you got? I just got back from there to type this out. Thought it was Nesquik and drowned. I'm Justin Y and I post pointless trash. Says, backing Shane, the only intelligent innocent in all of this. I feel like you need to get with the program. Are you not embarrassed? Eloquent Sarcasm says, didn't know about the non-comics gate aspect when I commented on my Earthworm Jim funding. No offense intended by it. While not religious myself, I am spiritual and appreciate your humble belief and refusal to force anyone on anything on anyone. Kudos. And Matt Field says, whoa boy, Mr. and or Mrs. Soye is going to get sued by Funimation after all this goes down. Hell, they might sue them tomorrow. Epic fire. Can't wait for tomorrow night's Rekieta retard roast. Hashtag defamation conflagration. Hashtag due process. So, that's the teaser for tomorrow. Guys, that is 4 pages. I have 16 pages. 16 pages just for you. Just for you. And it's only a small portion of what's out there. By the way, to any of the numerous parties that were bullied, intimidated, coerced by these people, several of your, how do we put it? Multiple people have come forward to provide evidence of that. You could certainly provide that to Beard, Harris, Bullock, and Hughes. You could provide it to me. I'll pass it along to them. You could even, if you don't have, if you don't want to, even if you don't have specific evidence, but you've got a story, because this is just the text, guys. Some of this was done by phone. Some of this was done by a phone call. If you just have a story of the lies, of the intimidation, of the coercion, please talk to me. talk to Ty, whoever you're more comfortable with. They shouldn't have bullied you. They shouldn't have lied to you. If you canceled Vic this year and your convention is passed, these idiots have cost you real money. Because look at KamehaCon, look at TupeloCon, TupeloCon, whatever it's called. Look at any of these other conventions Vic is going to. Their attendance is increased when they announce him. His lines are out the door. His lines have to get cut off by fire marshals on multiple occasions because there's so many people going to see him. The people who convinced you to drop him based on lies, misinformation, outright defamation, they cost you money. They hit you right in the pocketbook. They sold you a moral issue and they lied about it. They lied to your face. So, I would encourage you, talk to me, talk to Ty. You don't deserve that. They don't deserve to do this to people. It's not how your business is run. Despite all of this stuff about shadow banning and banning guests from conventions and all that stuff, we largely know that to be not true. Not true at all. I know there's speculation from the idiots of the world named Shane about Vic being knowingly banned from several conventions. Name one. Name one. Oh, and Shane, since you can never do it, I always seem to be able to back it up. Back it up. Got a couple more super chats. One more super chat here for now. Storm Knight ND says, man, they're forging their own crucifixion nails with their stupidity. Can we crucify the upside down as heretics? Them upside down, I guess it would be the... I don't know if we're allowed to crucify anybody right side up or upside down. But there you go. There you go. So, that said, let me tell you my evolved thinking on Jamie Markey. And then let me read you super chats in just a second. And then we'll be done for the day. Let's see. Yo, Soy Boy Akasit says, Nick, magnificent beast. I've been moving my listening hours away to the podcast, but it's always good catching you streaming live. Kickvik's behavior is the worst I've seen. Speaks volumes about gatekeeping American industries. P.S. J.K. Rowling says you're gay. J.K. Rowling says everyone's gay, in fairness. In fairness. Okay. I'm Justin Y and I post pointless trash. Says, I feel like your tone is a bit low-key, almost like you underestimate he who is Shane. How embarrassing. Shane 2019. I will always underestimate Shane, and it will never be under enough. You've got that one nailed, buddy. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, let's talk Jamie Markey. So at first I was laughing at Markey dodging service, because dodging service is, in 99% of cases, dodging service is pointless. Because you dodge service long enough, and then they'll just get alternative means of service, like they're petitioning for right now. They'll get to just tape it to the door, take a picture of it, walk away, and then she's served. And then she'll have to either respond or she'll default like anybody else. Here's the thing. I was kind of mocking her. You know, she's playing it cool on Twitter. I've seen it. I've seen all that about her. You know, I'm not dodging service. I'm going to Target. I'm walking my dog, all that stuff. Fine. fine. Listen. This is the one time where Jamie Markey might have done something smart. And I'm not saying that it's the one time Markey's done something smart, although it may be. One time in dodging service may have been smart, because Markey now gets to read the answer of Monica and Ron. Monica and Ron had two options, basically. Two high-level options with their answer. It was go reasonably and try and make a deal, try and work something out, or levy a good defense. None of those happened. The other option, unreasonably go scorched earth, where they think, here's what we can do. We will make it painful for Vic to prosecute us monetarily. We will do frivolous, we'll do pissy discovery complaints. We'll do an answer that is got an IQ of 70 or below. We will do absolute nonsense to make this take time, effort, energy, and money from Vic. That's what they chose. They didn't do a reasonable answer. They didn't come to the table and talk settlement. And I mean, my God, this was their opportunity to lay any bombs out on the table that they had, and they got nothing. They've got a Tumblr blog, a Pretty Ugly Little Liars post. By the way, we have the January 2018 or 2019, the January, I think, 18th, 2019 archive of that poll post right before all the defamation started, and almost none of it is in there. Almost none of it is in there. The link that what's his face, Casey Eric provided has been modified heavily following the defamatory comments of Ron and Monica. Oops. They've been archiving it. I already sent the archive to Ty and to his tech guy personally, just in case they didn't have it. I personally sent it because you people are stupid and terrible. How's that? I personally sent it to make sure that they had a link to the Internet Archive from January of 2019, which has nary an accusation that can be even close to credible. I think it's only got one accusation, and that one accusation has been discredited heavily by the person who should have made it if it was a real accusation. I sent that to them. So they'll be able to get their tech guy, and their tech guy's an expert. He'll be able to sit on the stand and explain that you can't forge an Internet Wayback Machine post, and that is a much more accurate reflection of that post that predates the statements. The one that you posted that you're lying about to try and predate Toye's statements, which we know go back at least as far as January 22nd. But they'll have a tech expert on there to explain to the judge and the jury why January 18th, a mere 4 days before Ron Toye's first defamatory comment to Kamea, that Pretty Ugly Little Liars post had nothing. Nothing on it that Ron Toye talks about, certainly. And that all that stuff post-dates the comments of Ron Toye and Monica Rial and Jamie Markey and Mars Girl. And he'll use big words. He'll probably talk about hypertext transfer protocol or something just because he's an expert. And he'll explain to that lovely Fort Worth jury exactly why you lied in your pleading about those statements predating your statements. When we can show definitively that they weren't there a mere 4 days prior. That's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. But Markey gets to see this. This is my point. Markey gets to see this. She gets to see, 1, that they're unhinged, 2, that they're stupid, and 3, that they're going scorched earth. Here's the thing with a scorched earth policy in a multi-defendant scenario. So you got a plaintiff and a defendant, one-on-one. Scorched earth for either of them costs both of them a ton of money. Now, let's say you've got Vic's situation, 1-on-4. Scorched earth from one of the defendants or the plaintiff, scorched earth from one of them costs everybody a ton of money. Not just the party engaged in scorched earth and the other party, but their co-parties also, because they have to get wrapped into all of this. They're all intrinsically tied together. Marky's dodging service. Why? I don't know that Marky can afford... Listen, Monica and Ron can't afford this, but they have 2 incomes. At least Monica and Ron have 2 incomes. Marky, I think, has 1. I'm not aware of a second income for her. Why is she dodging service? Maybe Marky can't afford a lawyer. If Marky can't afford a lawyer, at least, again, none of them can. At least if Marky can't afford a lawyer to the level that Monica and Ron can, that puts her at an extreme disadvantage in this case. Extreme disadvantage. The good thing about her dodging service is now she knows it. Now she knows it. And amazingly, she hasn't filed a defamation. She's actually been pretty quiet on Twitter generally in regards to Vic since this stuff really started coming down. She has her earlier head and balls quote. That'll be terrible for her to have to defend. But there's a way she doesn't have to, isn't there? Because since that initial outburst, she's been quiet. Ron's stupid, saying stuff all day. Monica's stupid, saying all sorts of statements. Marky shut her mouth. Marky doesn't have to walk back near as much. Marky, if you have any sense left in you, your lawyer should call Ty probably tomorrow. Because you're going to get served. That's an inevitability. You're going to get served. They're not... Vic has $156,000 in his war chest. Maybe 157. And certainly needs more. We're working on that, by the way. Certainly needs more in his war chest to do this. But he has enough to serve you. That's not a problem. So you're going to get served. You're going to have to retain counsel or you're going to lose. And you don't want a default judgment on this. But Monica and Ron threw Funimation and Rooster Teeth under the bus. Probably willing to throw you under the bus as well. And even if they're not going to throw you under the bus, they're certainly going to make it cost prohibitive for you to defend. So what you do is you probably should consider at least talking to your lawyer about reaching out to Ty. Because the first person gets the deal. And being the first person allows you a lot of leeway in what you have to do and say and how far back you have to walk, how much foot you have to eat, how much money you might have to pay. All of that, you know, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. Getting suggestions to show Vic's GoFundMe. Let me show Vic's GoFundMe. Indigo, yeah, GoFundMe. Let's see, what are we at? We're at $157,100. $157,100. So, Marky, he's got the money to serve you. For sure. Do you have the money to defend it? It's going to cost a lot. Think 6 figures. I mean, be brutally honest. This case is going to drag out. Monica and Ron have already assured the world that it will drag out. They wrote that lunatic answer. That lunatic answer was a clear indication that this is going to drag on and we're going to slug it out every step of the way. You got to ask yourself if you're ready to deal with that. That's a lot. And are Monica and Ron paying your bills? I doubt ultimately that Monica and Ron will pay their own. Frankly. So I would, if I were in your shoes, and thank God I'm not, I don't do well in heels. If I were in your shoes, I'd be talking that over with my counsel. So that said, tomorrow's stream, guys, tomorrow's stream, we're going to go through the rest of the information that I've got. This is just the beginning. And I will stress, I cannot tell you where it came from, but I can tell you one of my sources on the Kamehacon issue has come through yet again. Gloriously. Gloriously. And I'm so happy. So happy. All of this information has been sent to Ty, of course. I'm guessing Ty had it long before I did. But, I apologize for eating on stream. I didn't get any dinner tonight. We're going to go through the rest of it, though. So I do hope you'll join me tomorrow, whether I have Cody from Anime Outsiders on or not. Maybe they believe they'll win the TCPA anti-slap to make Vic pay the fees. Good luck. That's almost completely impossible. The pleading that Ty wrote, well, Ty didn't write it. Jim Bullock did. And by the way, I'm working on getting Jim Bullock and Ty on a stream together. I would love for you guys to meet Jim. And he and Ty have been working together for a long time, been friends for a very long time. And I think that their dynamic on screen will be really great. So I'm hoping to do that sometime soon, but I'll warn you, that will be a daytime stream. I will announce it plenty in advance because it'll be hilarious. But working on that one. I'm eating various cured meat. That was a piece of peppered salami. And then I've got some dry copa and I have some prosciutto as well. So, Marky has called me a vestigial lawyer. She doesn't think the court server is real. I don't care what Marky thinks about me. Let me just point out, I don't care what Marky thinks about me. She can settle with Vic and hate me for the rest of time. Fine by me. I don't care. I've made fun of Marky enough for her to be justified in not liking me. All she wants. I didn't set out on this journey to make friends with Marky and Soye and Rial. But, Marky, I promise you, no matter how much you dislike me, if you talk to your actual lawyer on this, they'll be saying, he's got a point. He's got a point. This could get very, very expensive, and we could settle this out possibly if we talk to the other party. That's what they'll say. That's what they'll say. There we go. So there's that. Should I read some super chats? I should read some super chats. But that's my evolved thinking on Marky and on Funimation. They have a lot to consider with that answer. They have a lot to consider. When I came to the realization that they didn't deny that Toye was an agent of Funimation, oh my God, it became very, very clear to me. Part of their goal is to get that joint and several liability and stick the bill with Sony. Sony, who can, of course, pay. Whether Toye and Rial can or not. Doesn't matter, right? Hey, Funimation. Hey, Funimation. You can settle all claims, Funimation. and remove yourself from the lawsuit real quick. Even if they lose the civil conspiracy bit, you guys could settle all claims and be out of it. That'd be amazing. God, that'd be funny. All right, here we go. There we go. Mr. Snubble says Doug is actually Hambly's dad. Big Boss 1984 says, hi, Nick. Sorry to keep bothering you, but can I post my GoFundMe in the chats? Unfortunately, I think it's the last hope my family has to help our cat. Big Boss has a huge cat bill, allegedly. I don't know. You know, guys, people ask me about GoFundMes all the time, and it's unfortunate I don't know them, so I'm never 100% comfortable talking about other people's GoFundMes because I can't verify their problems. But you guys can check it out. Big Boss 1984. I know he posted it earlier in the chat. It's something about his cat having some rare condition. He's asking for like $6,000. And if you want to check that out, that's up to you. I can't do. It sucks. It sucks because I know a lot of these people have real GoFundMe issues that would be legit, but I can't verify any of them. So people are welcome to advertise for them on my stream and talk about them in the chat. I'm not going to ban people for posting a link, but I can't endorse any of them. I'm sorry. I don't know you. It's not personal. I'm Justin Y, and I post pointless trash. Says something, Shane. Good night, buddy. Hey, good night back at you, buddy. Thanks for hanging out tonight. And as always, thank you for supporting the show magnificently in the way you do. It's always appreciated. Never expected and never demanded, but always appreciated. Thank you so much. Big Boss 1984 says, is there a way I can email you the link? It won't let me post it as a super chat. He did email me the link. Let me, I don't, again, where is it? Where is it? Hold on. I thought he emailed me the link. Oh, there it is. There it is. Let me pull it up here. And look, again, I hate doing this, but it's the reality of having a larger platform than I've had. I can't endorse this, but he did send a super chat and sent me the link. You guys check out that GoFundMe if you want, and that's up to you. That's up to you. So it's there in the GoFundMe. You can check it out. It's up to you guys. I can't endorse it because I can't verify it, and I hate that. I hate that. So many people send me GoFundMe requests, but I'll never say that someone can't, shill their GoFundMe in a super chat. Why would, that's up to them. Richard Ties says, Ren's back for the 6th time or so. Yeah, of course she's back. Of course she's back. My new policy is to flat out ignore Renfamous. Fat, disgusting heap of garbage Renfamous that she is. I have no reason to interact with her. She's blocked everyone. She uses a block bot now on Yellow Flash's followers. I think Tug's, mine. So there's no reason for me to interact with her. She's trying to stretch out her hug box or whatever, and not interested in her doing that. That's disgusting. So she can do that all she wants on her own. Her influence is shown to be completely pitiful and unnecessary. So I'm going to be ignoring it. Okay. Next is Sakaki Onsai says, as late as Jamie Markey to court proceedings. I was late. Sorry. I was on the kill stream, the Ralph retort on D Live today, and right before the show. Ralph, and some of you don't like Ralph, and that's okay. Ralph was good to me. Ralph had me on the kill stream when I had like 2,000 subscribers. He had no reason to do that. He invited me on. I'm happy to go on the Ralph retort. Ralph and I have always been good. Whatever internet drama is going on with him, that's between him and you and whoever. But Ralph and I, again, Ralph and I have always been good. He's been nice to me. I see no reason to not return that kindness. So I, of course, went on the Ralph retort. I'd go on again any day that he asked me and I was available. So, but I was on before, so that's why I was late. because going from the Ralph retort to then getting Doug prepped for the show and making sure our Hangouts is working correctly just took me a few extra minutes. So, Kitey Knight 52 says homo no show. Oh, I wasn't a no show. I was here. Jesse N says Nick's late/gayness is over 9,000. What? That's impossible. Ink Penification says fan of the Gunt, eh? Friend of the Gunt. Friend of the Gunt for sure. Sakagi Onsai says Robert from Fiji plus Rekieta's intern, the best pair. Cool Tactic says a man that inks with a brush ain't afraid of anything. Bagel Goose says Nick make Doug show his toes. You knew that wasn't going to happen. Plus, those things wouldn't fit in the frame. Those would be super long. Super long. Bad Boya says both you guys rock. Already got the comic, but I plan to get the super fan tier when money's less tight. Nick, if I make it to Anime Matsuri, I'll try to say hi. Please do. Please do. Either come to the panel and say hi or just come visit and say hi. Find me. I'll be around. You'll see me. I'll be the one guy not cosplaying. Freighter J says, wait. Automata says, way to rub salt in the wound. You and I both know that Payless went out of business with all stores closed. That was Shane's favorite dine-in joint. I know it's rude, but I figured there's got to be one out there that's still open. Let's see. Amland says, Nick, would you ever consider contributing a note/comment to the University of St. Thomas Law Journal? Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. As I guess a nominal Catholic or a former Catholic, whatever you want to call me. Plus a law alumni of Minnesota. I'd be happy to contribute a note or comment. But I was actually thinking about writing a comment. I was actually thinking about writing either an op-ed or maybe even a law journal or a law publication aimed discussion about the ethics of defamation in pleadings. Just because Casey's pleading is so mind-blowing to me, but you know, he's zealously representing his client. And what if your clients want defamation of the other party? Pleadings are a way to do it because they're privileged against a defamation suit. So Casey may have been doing exactly what his clients wanted in doing that. And that's really interesting to me, especially in the age of social media when anything can leak. And you don't need CNN to leak your pleadings, right? You can do it in small scale to insular audiences. So, there we go. So I'm going to talk about that one. I'm going to talk about that. Maybe St. Thomas would be interested in that article or that op-ed or I don't. If you want a law review article style, I could probably do that too. I'd get a byline from a friend, Mithran Emrys, who's studying the limited public forum doctrine. I think some of his research would overlap. I'd add him on a byline and as a reference, but I think that'd be a great discussion point for law as we go into the modern era. So, guys, the church I go to is Evangelical Covenant, so it's not like, it's not like a Protestant uprising is going to be crucifying me for being formerly Catholic or because you're never not Catholic, right? If you were Catholic, it's pretty hard to become un-Catholic. I don't, either way, I think they're all wrong. Rodrigo Ibanez, thanks for the donation. Danny Agent 87 says, will you cover Stanley abuse case as legal process has started? And what are your thoughts on elder abuse cases and how they generally end? Yes, I'll cover it. I got to read up on it. I didn't know they were getting started. I remember back in the day when that stuff has come up, or I remember that after he died, he got accused of Me Too type stuff. And then the Stanley abuse case will be very interesting because it sounds like he was abused. Elder abuse is a hard area of law. You see it a lot in probate where people manipulate elderly people into signing away rights that they wouldn't give away. Oh, excuse me. And it's always hard to figure out where their agency ends and where someone else's influence begins. The Wolfhammer says, my first console was an Intellivision back in 1993. Dang, or 1983. Dang it, I didn't get a chance to talk to Doug about that. No one important says, late and gay, but just wanted to ask Doug if Jim and the cast will have a bit of an arc about adapting to 2019. It would be hilarious, but that's just me. I don't know if that's on it. Sounds like an origin story. Tito de Loera says, bless you both from Tito, aka Bad Hombre. Tito! Hey man, how you doing, buddy? Welcome back to the show. It's been a while. I'd love to catch up with you, Tito. Unironically, I would love to catch up with you and see how you're doing. And now that the drama of that is largely over, I'd love to talk to you person to person, drama free about that. Let me see if I've got your email address, unless you're still there. If you are still there, if you happen to see this later, Tito, please email me or message me somewhere, and we could chat. It's been a long time. Amland says, okay, email sent, best wishes on the stream tonight. Hey, thanks, pal. Diversity and Cecil says, show is gayer than usual tonight. Back Earthworm Jim. Definitely do that. Buttle Weeb says, only buy either Doug a beer or anime, you plebs. Not beer and anime, just beer or anime. See, Mr. DJ Fly High says, hey, Doug and Nick, check out XCT, Extreme Champion Tournament. It's a good read and it might tickle your fancy. Will do. Heiliger Grimm says, hey, Doug, thanks for bringing back Earthworm Jim. I'm happy I can give my kids a book that isn't degenerate and we can bond with. You're a beaut. Can't wait to get it. Also, hail Caesar. Pixel Rush says, good to see Doug with normal hair / beard colors. Also, Nick, I subbed on New Project 2 last week and messaged you about Discord access. I know you're a busy man, but I want to get in that racket club. Yes, let me get you in there before tomorrow. Pixel Rush, if you're still seeing this, email me. If I don't find your message, please email me. I know that New Project 2 is working on a Discord bot right now that'll fix this process. But if you message me on Twitter and I didn't see it, please, please, please email me and I will make sure you get in before the chat tomorrow. Son of Ultra 7 says, I'm one of the unlucky ones. Too bad I couldn't get the physical making of, but the Bigfoot Bill main book more than made up for it. The book is fantastic. Hey, thanks for chiming in. Evan Rick says, Doug, what's your favorite era for Godzilla movies? Are you a Showa or Heisei man? Heisei man. Pronounce Heisei. Nick, you effing boomer. Sorry, buddy. Jamal Breezy says, how do you guys feel about DC Nightwing? I have no opinion. Sorry. Landonime says, Nick, make a GoFundMe for the Kick Bigfoot Bill anime campaign. Be more entertaining than everything Vic has dub acted. Bad voice actor. Sorry, guys. Rude. Pongo D says, the Neverhood is my favorite adventure game. Please don't let the powers that be ever compromise your vision. Moist John says, you get what you want by being nice, not by being an a-hole. Largely true. Pixel Rush, yes. Rekieta Law at rekieta.org. Yes. Let me respond to you in the chat so you have it. There you go, buddy. Yes, please make sure you email that. That's the only way that I can guarantee you tonight that I will be able to get you that link as soon as this stream is over. Big Boss 1984 says, sent you an email with the link. Yep, I shared it. Thank you. Kiwi Goes Live says, Four Loko Black is tasty and cheap like me. Excellent. Excellent super chat, sir. Shannon McDaniel says, can I talk about these nuts? You can. Moist John says, Shane has no assets to sue him for. I guess you could try to get his chair into a better home. And maybe that's a noble enough endeavor. Richard Wetfuss says, Doug, how did you feel when you got Jim back? He's not here, but I think the overwhelming impression is that he's very happy about it. Chris Nemo says, let us see that hideous shirt you're wearing. Here it is. Ecuador, Football Federacion Ecuador football or something. Who knows? Let's see. Eduardo Ramirez says, Kang of the Hill is best anime. Fight me IRL. Johnny says, check out Five Irons Handbook for the Sellout. Dr. Nerdly says, Mr. R, I graduated from law school on Saturday. Job interview tomorrow. Your vids gave me strength through it all. Outlining, Mr. T, can't wait for Earthworm Jim 3. Congrats, Dr. Nerdly. Good luck on your job interview and best of luck on the bar if you decide to take it and get licensed. Not everybody who gets a JD goes ahead to be a licensed attorney. Many people do it for various other reasons. But if you do go for the bar, best of luck to you. And if you need any advice or help, if I can help in any way, please don't hesitate to email me and ask. The despised doozer says, hey Nick, can you help me understand some law speak and maybe give a little guidance for my situation? How would you like me to contact you? If so, email. Right now, email is best. Unless if we've had an exchange on Twitter in direct messages, if you're already direct messaging with me on Twitter, that's a good place. But if you're not, it's a bad place. Otherwise, email. Cinnamon Roll says, make some Earthworm Jim shirts, figures, and merch. He might not have a license to do that. I don't know. Have to ask. Deleted account says, Kick Vic has VDS, Vic derangement syndrome. Yes. Deleted account says, homophobia and transphobia aren't real. That's actually a pretty... I'm pretty much on board with that. Jack Straw says excuses. That was in response to Doug talking about the 106 Bigfoot Bill sketchbooks that did not get sent. Argentico 2003 says, thanks, Doug. Love Bigfoot Bill. You're amazing. Big fan of the work in person. High integrity. Keldo the Horse says, since someone spoiled Detective Pikachu, I'm going to say this. Iggy, Avdol, and Abakio die in JoJo. Screw that guy in Minecraft. Seriously. Kiss me, heart, toilet. Solo Beverly says, why is Doug in blackface? We'll never know. We'll never know. Edelwolf says, good that you're a real football fan. I'll miss Antonio Valencia from Ecuador. Man UTD's former captain. Manchester United's former captain. If you're ever in Denver, us Busby boys party. Ooh. I would love to. I'll let you know if my wife and I do sometimes go through Denver on the way into the mountains or something else. So that's actually a possibility. Says, apparently Pro Jared's wife is close with Jesse Pridemore. Really makes you think. Man, doesn't it? Doesn't it really make you think? That'd be weird. Let's see. We've got Poor. Says, just got paid. Have $2 of it. Thank you. A shame you didn't catch that David Stay interview live. I was in Miami at a friend's wedding. I just couldn't. Nobody saw it coming. One minute they were talking about making TV shows in Japan. The next they're talking about how American slavery never happened. Oh man, that's great. Poor then follows up with, just want to say I never got the impression you were super conservative and evangelical from your work, Doug. Thanks a bunch for not shoving your politics into my face. N says, could God cook a burrito so hot he could not eat it himself? The eternal question. The eternal question. Naruto Martin says, okay, super curious. Are you LDS? Also, much love. I'm not, and I don't believe Doug is either. No. Austin Heartless says, hey, Nick, do you know if Doug takes commissions for personalized artwork? I would have asked while he was on, but I was busy at work. You gotta contact him. I would strongly suggest going on his show and asking him, or emailing him, or, go onto one of his live streams and ask him there, or email him, and, go check out his YouTube channel. He live streams quite frequently, and I'm sure he'll be doing it a lot with his Bigfoot or with his Earthworm Jim campaign. So you should have ample time to catch him. I know he has done it in the past. I don't know if he does it much anymore, but you got to ask him. I can't speak for him. P Money says, back Gary Shipman Packins land 1 hour left. Uh-oh. I think this was after that hour, but you could go check. Gary Shipman Packins land. Don't know what that is. Palix Tobin says, don't tease us. Keldo the Horse says, did you dox them when the screen blanked? Something popped up that shouldn't have, probably. I don't know if there's any compromising information on it, but I'll definitely have to go in and probably blur that out, even though in reality all this stuff is part of discovery and is certainly going to be a factor in the lawsuit. But James Mansfield says, wait a minute, what the F? Ron, no, Ron, no! Forever229 says, about to end this man's entire career. That would be unfortunate, wouldn't it? Lost Warrior says, I have a series of videos exposing Perfection's true side and how his ego has ruined his entire fan base. Check it out. Time to flush the parasites. Oh, someone asked if I got Perfection's message. No. For the 50th time, you're banned on Twitter, so can't talk to you on Twitter. Email me. I don't know how to talk to you. And I'm not going to sit here and have like a back and forth shout out fest with your video. I have other people to talk to. I am certainly willing to talk to you. For whatever reason you decided that my personal ethics are at play or something. I don't care, but I'll talk to you. But you got to email me like anybody else would who doesn't have a different way of contacting me. They just email me. I say it all the freaking time. Just email me and I can talk to you. But I can't hack my way into your stream. I can't like miraculously join you during my show, and I'm certainly not going to alter my show schedule for you. So, you know, if you want me to come on your show or you want to come on mine, email me like a sensible person would. Stop being an internet spurg and be a normal human and just email me. You weirdo. What is wrong with you? What broke up here? Real Me says, Nick, I sent you a direct message on Twitter. Check it out when the stream is done. The sooner the better. Well, hopefully we've interacted on Twitter, because like I just said, it gets really, really difficult for me to find those direct messages if we haven't interacted before. So there you go. I'll try. Let's see. Next, we've got Arcane Sidious says 2 things. 1, I got a raise at work, so passing it on to someone who entertains me weekly. Hey, thanks, buddy. 2, I sent you an email about my homemade apple pie moonshine titled Homemade Moonshine. You, Arcane Sidious, you scumbag. I read that email and immediately salivated. I'll be responding very soon. Rifleman 2C says, thank you, Doug, for the hours of fun I had with Earthworm Jim. Poor says, has Doug seen Shin Godzilla? Solid film. I got to see it in theaters and had a blast. I don't think there's a dub of it, but it looked awesome despite a small budget, and had Evangelion's director and lead composer. Oh, excuse me. That sounds cool, man. I think Japan was mad at Funimation for how poorly they promoted that. Canuck says, hey, Doug, I got both books delivered to me in Canada just fine. No problems, buddy, and I love the content. JDen M8 says, I like you, Doug, but not US $40 shipping like you. After tax and price of launch the cow, that's 6 or 7 tankobon of manga. We're talking. Sorry if covered already. Out doing family stuff. Catching the repeat later. Love Bigfoot Bill. Now it's finally arrived. There you go. Night of Hopex says it's a mixed bag, but generally speaking, most of our rights in this country are hanging by a thread or exist in name only. Plus, the state has hilarious power to police people that didn't exist 50 years ago. I don't think this is an upward trend necessarily. I don't think that we're on an upward trend right now. I do think we're on a precipice, but I think we have been trending upwards for a long time, especially when you zoom way out. We're like, the graph looks like this. But certainly recently it's a lot rockier, right? It absolutely is. Let's see. Alfonso M6 says, I wonder if Viz will take over after Funny is gone. Could be. That guy Mitch says, do you think Soye has shown his text to Casey? That would be really, really funny if he hadn't, but I hope to God he has. Automata says, you got 16 pages, and what do they get? Another day older and deeper in debt. That they do. Solo Beverly says, if you were the lawyer of Ronica, how would you represent them? they might not like what I have to say. They probably wouldn't hire me because I would tell them they need to settle, as they need to figure out they needed to settle. Now I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea what their plan is now. They pretty much committed. Sorry, N says, who is this perfection guy? Anyone that uses a Photoshop Dragon Ball model as their avatar is an instant yikes for me. Yorgamundo7 says, just back the Earthworm Jim book. Doug showing off the quality. Sold it for me. Good show, both of you. Hey, thanks, buddy. Keck7Go says, Nick, can you pass on to my Bay books that I can play video games and listen to you at the same time? Thank you very much. Also, grats to Doug and all the further successes with Earthworm Jim. Siren Jag says, I have a haiku after all. Have you seen Jamie? Marky's Jelly Bean Dispen. Sir Trick? Well, have you? No. No. Night of Hopex says, Doug, you're enough of... Oh, wait, I read that one. I read that one and that one. And, okay, next. Dave Youngson. Dave Youngson says, what you Yanks call football is based off what we call rugby, except that you need 30 pounds of padding and have taken all of the rhythm out of the game. Sin V says, what's with the weird toe super chats? Pretty weird. Anyways, please show back of knee. This is a Allah friendly stream. I shouldn't have said that, but I'm joking. So no, I will not show you the back of my knee. How dare you? How dare you? Peace be upon you. There's a message redacted. Eduardo Ramirez says, are you happy that Hentai Haven is back, you weeb? Is Hentai Haven back? I'd never even heard of it till it got banned. That's horrifying. Talon Sear says, Jamie, I'm sure the fan base would forgive you if you settle. I would at least. A lot of potential goodwill to be gained there. That's the amazing thing. That's the amazing thing, is that there really is, for Funimation. Funimation, there's at least one guy specifically who every month comes on and gives me your subscription dollars for the past 3 months. He's not the only one who's done it, but I know of one guy, excuse me, oh goodness, one guy who's specifically done it every month. Several people have donated their monthly subscription to Funimation to me. And that's just people deciding to cancel and donate it to me. But I tell you what, the way to build goodwill is to get Vic back into work. I mean, it's amazing what you can do for the fans by doing business with someone, especially when it's been exposed. I mean, you have been shown that 4 people who all are part of this investigation, and basically the only part of the investigation, they're all connected as close friends. Oh my God, you've been played. You've been played, Funimation. And there's time to get out of it. People would forgive that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would. I'm sure others would. Yellow, same with you, Marky. You know, you said something, you got caught up in a movement, but you really kind of stopped. You kind of stopped after a while. I'm pretty sure people's ability to forgive when someone admits that they did something wrong goes a long way. Social justice warriors don't have that. They're not people. I think you guys realize that. But normal, real people do have the ability to look over stuff like that. Yellow Flash 2, hey buddy, says perfection is the Shane of I Stand With Vic. Kind of seems like it. Kind of seems like it. Terrible Magician Pony says, mischatted you before, but heard you come through Denver. Have fun in Colorado. I'd buy you a drink sometime then too. Your streams are awesome. Thanks for the great info. We're like 3 years overdue for our normal Colorado trip. We would love to come through there again. When we do, I'll make sure and announce it. Elliot Joubert says, can I get your jelly beans ready? Can I get a get your jelly beans ready? Bitches? Just kidding. Get your jelly beans ready, bitches. And Alfonso M6 says, yeah, Hentai Haven is back, but a lot of weebs are using H-anime instead, or Hanime. There you go. And then finally, Flandre Scarlet says, Zero Wing Nikki soars above his foes in the Morgan. Soy seeking tactical nuke mounted and armed. As his target comes into view, he presses the launch button and looks down out of the cockpit laughing. Over the radio cackles, how embarrassing! There you go. Thank you, Flandre. And Ionarian, thank you for the donation. All right, guys, let's wrap this one up. Let me whoops. Let me get the music playing here. Where's my, come on. Give me my stupid app. Oh my god. There you go. Right on the screen there. That was lovely. Very professional. Very professional. All right, the outro is started. That means I would suggest not doing many more chats because I don't want to miss them. Tomorrow, I hope we will have Anime Outsiders on. He's been wanting to come on and tell me and you a story about something, and I would love to have him on. Cody's my dude, and having him will be great. And oh wait, is it muted? Is it muted? It's muted. No, it's not. No, it's not. Although I gotta turn it down a bit. Goodness gracious. Having Cody on will be great. So do please come join us for that. I will be going through all 16 pages of glorious ridiculousness. That will be for your pleasure. For your pleasure. Guys, I just went to January 22nd. Those texts get worse. They get worse. Remember, this didn't happen. It flat out didn't happen. Well, why didn't you sue me about it then? Huh, Ron? Were you afraid I could prove it? Were you afraid I could prove it? All right, guys. There's one more chat that did come in here. Alfonso M6 says, I would offer you a Jelly Bean lawsuit free and support other dub studios like Viz and High Drive. There you go. Okay, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Come visit tomorrow, please. Please come tomorrow. It should be a fantastic show. We'll talk a little bit more about Marky. I'm going to noodle through the revelations that I had about the fact that Toye does not deny that he's an agent of Funimation in his answer. I'm going to relay that to Ty as well. I assume they caught it, but just in case. And should be very interesting. Very interesting. All right, guys. Have a great night. Peace. Peace.
So pour out an odd bag of bow, more of that Freud. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea, post on Twitter as we hear lawsplaining tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the thought better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what